Man, I ain't about to do all this, man. Hold on, man. Let me stop this shit. Not about to do all that, bro. Nope.
The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
What's good, everybody? I'm GG, man. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It is the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chases. And before I get things started, as I always do, I want to give a shout out and a warm welcome to all you haters out there. Hope you're passing a good afternoon and having a good Sunday. It's warm here in Texas, you know what I'm saying? 71 degrees, man, outside. Whereas last week, it was 32 degrees. So I'm thankful for that. I'm also thankful for you haters joining me, man. I'm thanking you. So, if you're here, hit the like button, man. Hit the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the bell notification button in case you do subscribe so you can stay abreast of what's popping here on the Green Gorilla channel. Now, before I do anything else, like I always do, I want to do the roll call and give a shout out to all of the members of the Green Gorilla channel to show my appreciation for them helping me to keep the channel going. I want to give a shout out to Larry R, Seth's Son, Michael Ross, Divine Love Ridge, Afro True TV, Show Me, Brotherly Love 215, Jay Cleveland Green, Raiz Muajid, and Spain, man. Big up to y'all, man. Big up to Lee Ways, Tahuti of New Comet, No Sleep, Ben Cannon Kenton, Seven Coast Dojo, Apex Prowler, Anthony Davis, I'm Just Jules, Blacksburg 404, and Honest Look, and Sherlin Woe. Big up! Big up to Ricky Dawson, Stefan, Julius Ferguson, Lord Hamal, True 7360, Mr. Me Too, Call for President, Superman's Cape, Gold Professor, AKs and Curtains, and H-Town. Big up! Big up to Rogish the Billmonger, BD Main, Adrian Thomas, Electrician 480, Binga, Cutting Up with the Jones, Zanko, D. Scott, Path Guy, Pete Rock, and Aaron Peters. Big up! Big up to Barnolas, Dardar, Vincent Lindsay, Beautiful Trauma, Quiz the Poet, Black Wizard, ADOS, Jazz Tech, Shadow Observer, Sugar T, Artisan MC, and Kyle J. Sura. Big up! Big up to Kareem, Troy Warren, Mrs. KP Bailey, Alan Wiley, The Face, Life of Commerce, Dreamlit, A. Wilson's Ghost, Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, and Marvin Battle Jr. Big up! Big up to Mark Holt, Adam, BGS Ibmoy, Ignatz Mouse, Brian Peaks, Papa Didas, Scott Haywood, Black Uru, Dr. Tree 33, Leroy Honeycutt, 77 Base X, Brian McMurray, and K-Ron S. Big up! Big up to Charles Rogers, Rick Walsh, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Greg Berry Little, Mr. Valentino, Jason Hales, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Cameron 87, and Doc LaRock. Big up! Big up to Mark Swift, Odd Collar, Donald Watts, Coach Hotep, Old Soul Chief, Mr. Blue Collar, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat and Sir Anthony. Big up! Big up to MLR, Universal 178, Rasheed Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, Red Pill Revelator, Aaron Infinite, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalanja Kala, Hostile Adept, and WPR1. And I can't forget the brethren in another, space and the place, man. Another dimension. I must mention the brothers David Carroll, Force Windu, and Kevin Samuels, man. Big up, man. On my Patreon side, I want to give a shout out to Chris Flowers, Christopher Burton, Daxby, J Live, Rashawn Phillips, Keith Bass, Nick, Albert C, Dr. Ben Vincent, I'm the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, Tyrone Hampton, Darnell Smith, Excalibur, Pursuer Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi Momal, and the Sangwa. Big up to all y'all, man. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. Straight up. Big up to y'all, man. I thank you so much for your appreciation. You deserve a round of applause for the cause. And if you're wondering how you can support the Green Gorilla channel on an ongoing basis, man, here's how you do it, and then I'll be back with the proceedings this afternoon, man. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, I'm back. I'm GG. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers. I'm not here by myself at the current moment, man. I got BGS, and also I got the Mad Professor. Let me make myself equal to these men. I don't want to try to stand out or anything of that nature at the current moment, man. What's cracking with you guys, man?
You're the master teacher today, so.
Well, I'm just the master of the ceremony, that's all, But, I don't pay too much attention to ceremony,
Hey, what up, expat?
What's up?
You got the bug, huh?
I got it, man.
Yeah.
You
and Randall Robinson, huh? leave America.
There you go.
Right. So, shout out to everybody out there in the chat. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Music Man, Jay Cleveland Green holding me down. Also, I want to give a shout out to Wannabe Mystic. He says, hey, GG, this is David Caldwell, just under another name. As always, I want to show my support for your channel, the true mystic and teacher, GG. Show enough, man. Give the man a shout out, man. Got to give the man an air horn, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to Terrence Blackstock. Shout out to, of course, BGS Ibmore. You in the house right now. Shout out to Joe's. Giogami, got to give him a shout out. Appreciate the donation, sir. Shout out to Miss Pat Williams. She says, hi, Mr. GG. This is Miss Pat. Hope you're having a blessed day. Yeah, I'm having a highly favored one at the current moment, man. Let's keep it going that way. Shout out to Jestro, 0861, and Leon. I just want to shout everybody that's out there right now that I see that's in the chat, and all the people who haven't made any comments at all. God bless y'all today as well. You know what I mean? So today what we're here to do is to have an honest and a candid and open conversation about Passport Bros, its development as a movement, which is not really, it's not an official movement. It's just, a group of men who are like saying enough is enough. I'm not having a good go of dating and mating in America or, marriage and relationships. So I'm going to try my hand elsewhere.
Yeah. It's been happening, but I think it's just like ADOS, right? It started off as a hashtag, and people kind of gathered around it and made it a wave. They made it a movement. That's how movements start sometimes. It's just a nice little Passport Bros actually coined by King Sigmund back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Because it's been around, it's just got momentum.
Okay, so it's something that's beginning to gain legs. It's like a ball of snow rolling down a hill. It's picking up steam.
Yeah.
It's rolling over a few people here and there, much to their chagrin. Some people are being pulled into the ball. Some people are running away from the ball so that they don't get caught up into it. Some people are trying their best to divert the energy of this snowball, this roll.
It's been fueled by black women, believe it or not, with their negativity. So it's been fueled. It actually made it a thing. It was go ahead.
Well, I just want to address, so I know Miss Pat is here, and thank you for switching over to, regular wording as opposed to all caps the entirety of the show. But I mean, and look, here's the issue. It doesn't matter whether brothers are looking for wives or not. Like that,
Yeah.
to me, that it makes sense to a certain extent. I get that, okay? But like that's not a major concern. Like, I mean, the concern is this. And I think I can speak for like a large amount of men, if not all men. We're being told we're undesirable. We're being told that we don't meet the standards. We don't check off all of the boxes on the the list of checks that you have. We're falling short of what you would consider to be the ideal, suitable candidate for dating, mating, marriage, whatever, hookups, whatever it may be. We fall outside of the range of what it is that you consider to be ideal. So if that's the case, what's the point of us? Like, I mean, not to say that this is all women in every city, every state throughout the entirety of America. That's not what we're saying, okay? That's not what I'm saying, okay? But I'm just trying to give an explanation. You see a phenomenon occurring. There are a group of men who are saying, okay, if you're dissatisfied, if we so dusty, we so crusty and musty, if we so scrubbish, and we so big and didn't do nothings and nakers, then maybe we need to go somewhere else and look in other alternatives. Like and I said, let me say one more thing. I'm gonna leave open the floor. I remember one time I was at a club in the city of St. Louis. Can't remember what club it was. It was on Washington Avenue, and one lady I asked to dance and she wouldn't dance with me. So I looked right around and I saw another pretty girl right there. I asked her to dance and she said yes. I mean, if one woman says, I don't like you, don't want to groove with you, then it's somebody else who will. No need to lament, to cry about it. No need to suffer. No need to be spiteful. No need to, engage in sour grapes mentality. You just explore alternatives. You pursue other options. So what do you guys have to say about that, man?
I think all of us have heard all of our lives, not just our adult lives, but just the totality of our lives, that black men ain't ish, okay? And we've heard different variations of it today. It's black men are trash, on YouTube and other places on social media, black men are dusties and all that kind of stuff. That we have no value, that we're worthless. You know what I mean? I can go back, to the early part of the 20th century. There was Booker T. Washington's protege. Her name was Nannie Helen Burroughs. And she wrote an essay called, What the Negro Must Do to Get Ahead. And it was a complete critique, some misandrous critique of black men, and that was, put out, like in the 1915, between 1915 and 1920. And so we've heard this for decades, generations and generations. It hasn't changed. It applies to, all black men, regardless of your, socioeconomic station, class status, so on and so forth. And it just, we're at a place right now where black men are, okay, since you believe that, then we're just going to, go our own way. You know what I mean? And I think, BGS talked about this. You had the MGTOW movement years ago that, slowly but surely, made a dent in terms of, the general manosphere and the black manosphere in particular. And that was kind of like a beginning, a kernel in terms of black men on social media kind of checking out. And but the thing with MGTOW was that MGTOW, basically promoted the monk life, and the monk life for me in particular, the monk life is good. It's good to have moments where you have abstained from the system, where you do something different, where you become solitary and what have you. But for me, the monk life is not sustainable. You know what I mean? If you're a heterosexual man and you have an attraction and desire for the opposite sex, and you are pro-social, you are pro-life, and I'm not just talking about in the sense that it is used in terms of abortion, but in terms of relationships with the opposite sex and other human beings, man. And so Passport Bros is just a natural consequence of it. It's a better alternative, better option than MGTOW.
Right. So it's basically saying, okay, look, we tried the monk thing for a while. It's good to regroup, get your bearings straight, and to figure out how you're going to navigate through life. But it's not really actually life that is designed such that a man should have to go it alone. Here's another alternative to the monk life. I've gotten myself straight. I've learned how to discipline myself. I've accumulated status and resources. And now I want to be able to, create a legacy for either myself or for others, my progeny or what have you. And so it's becoming increasingly difficult to do that in the Western world. And I think the reasons are clear, as far as I'm concerned. And this is just not something unique to Black women, but it's something I've considered to be germane to a lot of women in America. I mean, the materialistic, the superficiality of it all, the ungratefulness, the entitlement, the expectation that, you're supposed to receive, but not to impart or to give. These are all concerns and that men have. And these are all things that men see. And then, little by little, men are consistently being under or devalued. And so in order to gain an experience which is different from that which people in the Western world are kind of like entrenched in, people are making decisions to go elsewhere and to see what else the world has to offer, to see if they will be treated like this in other cultures. And the world is expanding. Or I won't say it's expanding as much as it's getting smaller. And men are expanding their networks and they're expanding their minds such that they understand that, like, I'm not landlocked to America.
Yep.
I'm an American citizen, and by virtue of being an American citizen, I have privileges, and I have, advantages that I need to exploit. And one of those just might be going elsewhere, seeing what the world is like, to travel, to get out. Because a lot of times we get habituated and we get canalized into routines that aren't healthy for us, right? And so this might be, what's up, Doc Johnson? What's cracking with you? Glad that you can make it, man.
What's good? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you perfectly fine, bro.
My apologies, fellas.
No, you good, bro. Thank you, man. We all got things going on, man. So I appreciate your presence, man. So,
No doubt.
We're just kind of talking about like why the phenomenon is manifesting itself in the first place. And, I got a whole bunch of clips that I want people to look at, and I want y'all to talk about and to critique and, to comment on.
Yeah.
So we can keep it lighthearted to a certain extent. But I still, I got some of the best minds in the manosphere right here at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Well, really, like I said, Passport Bro's been around for a while, right? It was a hashtag, but really, it's just market forces. I was telling Doc earlier that remember the old wars between American car makers and the Japanese car makers. Where they're making better products cheaper.
Oh yeah,
And they can compete. In other words, dating market is actually being globalized, right? Where you can actually get a better product for at a cheaper price. I call it like the China price. This is basically the Passport Bros price. Better product, better acting, better looking at 90% off. Can't beat that. That's what the mad professor is going through right now. Better product, more cooperative at 80% off, right? Can't beat that.
It's basically outsourcing, man. It's outsourcing.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's outsourcing, and I'm going to continue to push the narrative of globalization, man. And it is what it is. It's global competition.
Yes.
And it's about value, man. You all know I'm here in Africa, in the Gambia, and excuse me if I blink out because the Wi-Fi ain't all that stable where I am.
Right.
So I may be in and out and what have you, man. But man, listen, man. The Chinese all over Africa, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're building infrastructure. The Chinese are giving the French, the British, and the Dutch a run for their money.
Yeah. Well, they've run them
And
out of Africa for the most part.
that's exactly what they're doing. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And as you said, BGS, man, it's just market forces
Yes.
and competition, man.
Yeah. I mean, if you have boots on the ground like Dr. Neal has, right? You can see it. Okay. Uh, whereas you come back to the state, they got all these requirements. You got to make 6 figures. You got to be 6 feet. Got to have a 6-pack. Got to have the right attitude. All these requirements, they actually price themselves out of the market, just like the automakers did back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Inferior products, uh, 3 times the amount. Okay, think the shit the cars broke down. Remember the AMC Gremlin? Anybody?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Remember the Gremlin and
Hmm.
AMC? AMC went out of business, right? They were
Hmm.
number 4. Black women are like the AMC Gremlin. Okay, the AMC of the automotive world. They actually in 4th place. Okay, inferior products, high prices. Guess what? When the Japanese come in, guess what's going to happen? You're first on the block. You're first to get chopped off. So,
Hmm.
And look,
uh,
this is not. It's not a lot of times black women think that this is just nothing more than disrespect. But
right.
like I've always said this. Let's say, for example, I'm in a relationship with a woman, right?
Hmm.
She's not happy, and I'm not happy.
Right.
And we keep trying to work it out, but we can't reach any kind of consensus. We can't
Hmm.
reach a compromise. There's no modus vivendi in sight.
Hmm.
Then you got to separate and go your own ways.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like there's no reason to continuously go back and forth with a group of people who are not seeing the eye to eye. Like with a person that you're not seeing it eye to eye with.
Hmm.
There's no reason to do it. Now I'm not gonna give up on my children.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm not gonna. There's no passport where I can escape my duties and my responsibilities as a parent.
Right.
Okay, but however, I'm not committed to having any relationship. I don't have a duty to be in a relationship with an American woman. I
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no. The only duty that results from being in a relationship with anyone
Yeah.
is the children the people you bring into the world, or the duties that you have to people after you consent to being in a relationship and you decide to take on a burden
Right.
of being responsible for them. Okay, whether
Yeah.
it be your elderly parents, a wife, or whatever the case may be. Of course, your children, you're always responsible for them and have a duty to take care of and to make sure that they're safe, okay, and that they have the basics, okay. But there's no duty that a black person has to another, in terms of a relationship, beyond treating them with respect. Beyond that, like there's no duty for me to take care of, to take on fathering or mentoring or any other thing unless I decide to do that. That's extra.
Hmm.
Okay?
Well,
But
can
it's
I
not
can,
necessary. It's not compulsory.
can I comment on that? Because I think I may represent the demographic of black men who did what we were told would secure us love, affection, and so on and so forth. I got married. I had a child in wedlock. I protected and provided. And what I found was the more I did, the more resentment I felt. This is something BGS and I talked about a little while ago. It was more resentment. And he said when I presented that to him that I had not considered, he says,
You're breaking up,
competing
man.
with you.
Oh yeah.
Can you
Your
hear?
women, the black women competing with you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, black women are competing with you. So the more you protect and provide, you can find yourself with someone who resents that thing from the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas anybody
Yeah.
anywhere else in the world, you'd be appreciated for those sacrifices. She resents them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And so what?
when you've done everything, what then? What?
Yeah. And yeah, and I've said this, and you all know this. I mean, there's no contract. There's no contract between us. You talk about duty and what have you. Yeah, and I say it over and over again. Yeah, black women basically destroyed the contract.
Yeah.
And once they destroyed that contract, it made black men free agents.
Yeah.
Okay. And we are free agents. Right now, there's a mismatch. What it is, a mismatch between Black American men and Black American women.
Yeah.
Jason Whitlock. I saw what Jason Whitlock has done recently. He had Al Grease on his show, talking about his work and what have you, and what Jason Whitlock did on Passport Bros earlier, and he spoke to that broken contract.
Yeah.
And it's a contract that can't be repaired. It's too far gone. I said this on a recent video. This situation that we're dealing with in the U.S. is irreversible.
I still remember that video that they destroyed the contract. That was funny as hell.
But I just want to address a certain, okay, so you have a woman in the audience. Her name is Pat Williams. No, don't be disrespectful to her. But here's the deal. I think it's well known that all throughout the world, women outnumber men. Like whatever society you live in is just a feature and a function of the natural, output of birth. That typically you're going to have more female. You're going to have a larger female population than a male population. Okay, that's that's just a feature of nature. Okay, and then we talking about black people, traveling to countries where there's a large concentration of other black people. Yeah, how they gonna be able to tell the difference?
They won't.
How if I go to Brazil, unless I make an announcement and have videos everywhere about me, being a passport bro, how's anybody gonna know? And then if that woman is not married, or she's not in a relationship with somebody, how's somebody gonna get mad about her?
Yeah.
It's just the thing. See, this is, to me, it's a challenge. It's basically saying, okay, what you think you might have in terms of capacity and agency, you really don't have that. It's like, okay, well, if you go there, you're gonna fail miserably, and you're gonna risk being hurt or killed, or or you're gonna be subjected to violence. And, my whole retort to that is, we already being subjected to violence in America anyway. Even if we're linked up with women in the United States, there's a high chance that we can go to prison, that our resources are going to be extracted from us, that we're going to be ripped away and separated from our children, and that we're going to be at constant loggerheads with the very women who've taken on the responsibility of being our helpmates. And here's the funny thing, right? A lot of, black women are hyper religious, right? And, they Christian to the core. Here's the thing that surprises me. Women in the Bible, from the outset, were created to be man's what? Helpers.
Yeah.
They were there to be his helpmate, to help him, because he can't do it all alone. Right? I mean, that was the purpose. Okay, now this is before even reproduction became part of the equation. Before children were even factored into the equation, because childbirth is supposed to be, according to Christian theology, a curse for engagement in sin, correct? Now, maybe I'm twisted and I'm wrong about this.
The pain of childbirth is supposed to be a curse.
But I mean, okay. So, the whole point is, man was given a helpmate prior to their engagement in sin, and reproduction was even a thing. Adam had a helpmate. Now I'm just using theology as an analogy, right? So, but there are women who saying, I'm not going to help men do shit. But they want a man to give them resources and to protect them. So, but then provision is not even in question here, because most of what women need, American society is such that, there are people who have poverty. There's a homeless population. I mean, there are people who are in abject poverty. Right. But let's keep it to fact. Let's keep facts, right? This is a place where fat people, man, I'm talking about terribly morbidly obese people, or poor, okay?
Right.
So person's basic needs, and this is not a show today where we're sharing we're not having any extras on to show today. We're not going back and forth and having exchanges today. But the point is, the provision is not for the basics as it pertains to marriage in the United States. Provisions are for lives of leisure. That's why, it's a demand that women have of men that they have 6-figure incomes and salaries and shit like that. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
So you can have the accoutrements of bourgeois, upper middle class lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So you can buy luxury items. That's the standard requirement today.
Right.
And to me, it's absurd that women are actually demanding. It'd be different if these was bad women. I'm talking about Beyonce type fine
model chicks, as they used to say.
They was all looking like Kelly Rowland, Brittany Renner, you know what I'm saying? Or, with the makeup on, what's the chick with the big forehead, the singing now, but thick as a dog?
Megan Thee Stallion?
No, not her, man. She ain't fine to me, but she thick fine, but she ain't beautiful fine. You know what I'm saying? You got to put a ton of makeup on her to make her look good. But the one with the big forehead.
Rihanna. Rihanna.
No, not. But she fine too. I like Rihanna too. But it don't matter. But the whole point is, the reality is, a lot of chicks, man, got 2 or 3 babies already. Mm-hmm. They overweight. They think that a degree by itself is supposed to gain them some sort of respect, but actually the degree is a proxy for masculinity as far as I'm concerned. That's what it is. So you got women who are at odds and they're constantly at loggerheads with men, competing with men over who's the boss, who's the man. Because the indicator of manhood is what? Your bank account, correct? Mm-hmm. How much money in, the positions that you occupy.
Yeah.
Right?
Resources and status, yeah.
So if that's the marker of manhood, then why compete? I'm not about to be at loggerheads with a woman over who's got the best job and who got the biggest bank account. If you are a partner with somebody, it shouldn't matter who has the most money, because you're supposed to pool the money together and utilize it in order to create objectives so you can win together. Because in actuality, the whole concept of coupling and togetherness in relationships is where the two supposed to become one flesh. Or maybe I'm missing something. According to Christian theology, that's what I would assume is the case. The two supposed to become one, not the one supposed to try to uphold and to demonstrate that I'm better than the one or the other. You're supposed to actually utilize whatever resources each of y'all have in order to make life better for the both of y'all and for your progeny. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, they actually become married or become wards of the Leviathan of or the state. That's what's happened in the Western world, especially the black women.
Let me before I move forward, man. Let me do my housekeeping real fast, man. Shout out to Ghetto User, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate your donation, sir. Shout out to Leon008. As always, shout out to ML Law, man. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Jazz Stack. Appreciate your donation, sir. We got Voltron. We ain't formed into the fiery phoenix just yet. Or the battle of the planets just yet. But we all here. We just having a conversation. We're talking about passport bros, some justifications for it, and some objections to it. A lot of people are objecting to it, and primarily the people who are objecting to it, or let's just be frank, people who are idealistically committed towards the idea of black togetherness and black community, and a lot of black women who might be having sour grapes of black men for opting to do something different than to date them.
And basically, it's like I said, it's market forces, right? And competition. And I think I've said this before to you and to Dr. T, right? Black men have been in a box for 200 years where they couldn't move. And the black men have depended on white men and others to actually push black men back into that pen where black men don't have to compete. Now black women have to compete, and they don't know how. They don't know how to compete. That's why they use the same old tactics, which is sign language, trying to shame you back into the pen again, or say that it's too scary out there. The thing is, instead of learning how to compete with the rest of the world, not just the other women in the United States, but the rest of the world, that's cheaper. It makes perfect sense. Well, y'all are just tricking, and we trick on you. Okay. One guy, I think you were on last night. One guy said that a dime, you still have to pay for a dime no matter where you are. The thing is, having a dime that's 90% off, it makes sense. Like where Ronald is, he can get a dime instead of having to make what $100,000. You actually only have to make $20,000 to get the same kind of woman that's more cooperative. It makes
Get a
sense.
better woman.
You get a better woman, and
You get a better woman.
where you at? You get a better woman at 90% off.
You
Can't
get a
beat
better
that.
woman. No baby mamas.
No baby mamas,
Yeah,
young,
fewer body
tender,
counts, you know.
no low body counts, natural hair, their
Yeah.
own natural teeth without the attitudes, cook, clean, all that kind of stuff, all trained, right? At 90% off. You can't beat that. It's a
Mhm.
market force, okay? And
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
wave that's coming. They can't stop that wave. That's I've been trying to tell women that. You can't stop this. Passport Bros is just the face on the wave. It's not the wave itself. I mean, once you get on the ground, like the doc can tell you that passport bros is just a name that you attach to the phenomenon. It's not the
That's
phenomenon
all.
itself. There's other
That I
factors
mean
that
that
go into it.
that's all it is. And when you do this, like
Hmm.
I'm over here, man, and I've been here for 2 weeks, and I've had the time of my life. My
Hmm.
second trip here to Gambia,
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to go into all the details of my experience, but I'll just say this: there's mutuality.
Hmm.
Um, I have what they want,
Yeah.
and they have what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's no complaint, there's no grievances or what have you. You understand, and they understand that it's a fair exchange.
Fair exchange. You're gonna same exchange you would have in the United States. Exactly the same thing. It's
Hmm.
just more affordable, and like I said, better product. I mean, you can't beat that. And women have to understand that. Either you have to compete and give black men a better deal, which you're not, and you complaining and wagging your fingers just making black men go faster. That's all it's doing. They'll say, well, why are you guys leaving? Look at this video. Okay. Oh,
Which
now I
speaking of
understand why you're leaving. Go ahead.
yes, well speaking of videos, so I
Go
want to
ahead.
show some videos and so let me start the process of sharing this screen. But I don't actually I can share just my screen and then I'm gonna make myself a little bit bigger than everybody else. Then I'm gonna go to Firefox and assume you can see all that.
We got you.
Okay, so I put this video out, right?
Hmm.
And it's got like about 17,000 views at this point. I don't perceive it gaining any more legs than it already has. But you see a picture of a Filipino woman or an Asian woman,
Hmm.
and here's how the video goes. So it's cool for a 40-year-old black boss bitch named Stella to go get a passport and travel to Jamaica so she can get her groove back with a 20-year-old Jamaican boy who turns out to be gay.
What?
But if a black man gets a passport to see what women are like in other cultures because he's tired of the narcissism, egotism, and disrespect he receives from women in his own culture and race, then he's some kind of oppressive and perverted dirtbag? Man, y'all tripping. So it's cool for a 40-year-old black. And so I started there. And the reason that I started there
Hmm.
was because we act like the global marketplace for dating, mating, and pleasure. You can call it hedonism, whatever the case may be. We
Uh-huh.
act like only black men are engaging in it.
Yeah.
And I find it, I've always said this. I'm here to point out, as a philosopher, I'm here to point out contradictions, double standards, and deviations from truth. Like, I'm here to critique, okay? So here we have a situation in which a woman was actually being a passport sis.
Hmm.
Way before black men began to put a name on the whole concept of passport bros. Okay. Passport sis. And you should see the reactions that are the responses that I've had from this. I mean, the most common response is that, well, this was a work of fiction. This isn't real.
No, it's
No.
real.
When I did a show on this very thing, and one of the things I pointed out is they were the first to make it a movement.
Mhm.
Because if you were watching that movie at that time, and I was, it wasn't just a story.
No.
Black women were high-fiving each other and encouraging each other to go. And here's the thing, it never stopped. To this day, they still have travel groups, girls trips. That's what girls trips was synonymous for. It's really passport girls. That's really what it is. It always has been, especially since the 90s. So I find it incredibly hypocritical that they got nerve to be upset about this. Hell, even Eddie Murphy joked about this back in the day. That's how prevalent it was.
Right.
And it's international. Y'all know I'm in the Gambia, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm walking around here and I'm seeing old crusty white women from Europe walking around here with these young black men.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's
sir.
everywhere. It is everywhere. You know, and yeah, it is utter hypocrisy for them to call us all sorts of deviants and predators and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
When they travel and they want to be, the woman king in
Yeah.
the Caribbean,
Yeah.
and in Africa and other parts of the world.
Mhm.
This has to do with American arrogance. Okay, let's just be honest. Okay, so if you are an American, there's a certain set of advantages that you have when you travel internationally. Your dollar is going to be 5 to 10 times as much worth, and sometimes 20 to 30 times more worth than people in other countries. Okay, especially if you're already a millionaire, which Terry McMillan was already a millionaire when she traveled to Jamaica. And this was a resource and an outlet for her. And what did she use it to do? We're going to see that right now. So my response to all of the people saying it was a work of fiction, there was no truthfulness about it, here's the response. This right here is for all you dumb people who keep telling me that How Stella Got Her Groove Back is a movie and it ain't real and it has no connection to the Passport Bros. First of all you got to do is look at Oprah.com and you'll see the truth of what it is that I'm saying. It says there, best-selling author Terry McMillan's 1995 Tropical Getaway had all the makings of a storybook romance. The then 43-year-old author was vacationing in Jamaica when Jonathan Plummer, a charming 20-year-old Jamaican, first caught her eye. 3 months after Terry returned to California, she asked Jonathan, the inspiration for her bestseller, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, to move into her multi-million-dollar home. In 1998, they married. End of story. Stop the cap. Get some facts in your life, dummy. Then it comes out that young Jonathan Plummer, the one who gave Stella her groove back, that he is part of the LGBTQ community. Now, who got used? Or was it just the case that this guy didn't know who he was prior? Now, I mean, I'm not saying that using anybody for a green card or a visa is moral, or I'm not even saying that, it's not something that a person risks when they marry or they date somebody from outside of the country. The potential for abuse amongst both persons is there, both parties, okay? The person who is the foreigner and the person who is traveling, okay? Things can go wrong and people can be used, okay? But, don't act as if it can't happen to women either, and that it hasn't been happening to women. This is the hypocrisy to me. What y'all think about that, man?
Everybody knows about the green card tricking that's failed in America. So that's how women actually do how they trick internationally. They do it with green cards. They bring the guy back. He's just one of those guys. I think 80% of those marriages actually fail between chicks that actually bring a guy in, expecting him to actually do the same work that she does, that an American man would do. Different culture. It's a mismatch. But that's green
And
card.
what they do is they flip it into a victim narrative.
Mm-hmm.
They turn themselves into the victims of this person who had less resources than them, who was an opportunist, and leveraged the opportunity to their advantage. You know what I mean? And that's the other part of it. And so when you see women talking about this kind of stuff, especially I know Dennis Sperling has talked about this with the woman who wrote the book called The Pursuit of Happiness. I can't think of the title of the book, and
Yes,
I don't
Pursuit of
want to read
Happiness.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They frame themselves as victims first of American, patriarchy, racism, and sexism, and all that kind of stuff, and they have to go somewhere else, and and seemingly they they become something other than victims
Right.
once they're in Jamaica,
Yeah.
or once they're in Grenada or Barbados,
Mhm.
any other place in the world,
They
But
become predators.
once it goes south,
Mm.
here comes the victim card.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Yeah,
don't have
man.
the same kind of power the further south they go, or in
Shout out
Africa, they
to
don't have the same kind of power.
I'm gonna let Dr. Johnson speak. I
Go
just
ahead.
want to give some acknowledgement to the brother
Indigo flow.
Indigo Flow, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate your Indigo Flow. Thank you, sir. Dr. Johnson.
Well, I was looking in the comments and I'm seeing this chick Pat who you were talking about earlier, and a moment ago she was talking about good luck, y'all are risking your lives. Wait till those men get hold of you. But here's the thing: if we take your point, the question has to be asked: what you think black men don't know that their lives may be at risk? What does it actually say when black men are willing to risk their lives rather than put up with this kind of lackluster treatment?
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you about how far this has gotten? Because when I talked earlier about the competition, and shout out to Gigi for really nailing my point, because my sound went out on my phone, but that shit is real, where black men have been urged to achieve only to find themselves in competition, or at least this is what I was telling BGS the other day. It's not even really a competition. It's like you walking home from school and a girl walk up to you and you're walking through a basketball court and she starts dribbling and going through the legs and doing all of this, and she makes a layup and then she looks at you and says, "I won." And you like, "I'm just walking home from school. What are you talking about?" It's a kind of competition that's really one-sided. Women are competing with men. So men are actually in many situations trying to actually create a household. They're trying to protect and provide, and they find themselves at odds with women who are competing with them.
Yeah.
And that tension builds up over time. And it's so endemic to black relationships that it's like asking a fish about water. It's such a constant.
Yeah.
So I think you have black men that are finally, after decades of this, like we can go longer than that, but are starting to pull away from this. And it's something Dr. Neal can talk about more in more detail than I do. When you actually leave the country, tell me about the weight that comes off your shoulders that you didn't even know was there. Because I hear brothers telling me about it's not something you really feel until it's not there anymore.
Yeah. And for me, that's the most important thing. That's the crescendo, and that is that America is a hostile and toxic environment for black men. And when you come to a context like where I am right now in the Gambia, you don't feel the hostility, and you don't feel the tension, and that is the greatest reward of it all. And then you couple that with the connections that you make with women in particular who are here, who have a different orientation, who are not programmed to be in constant war with men, women who will care for you. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm speaking from my experience right now, as at this very moment. Okay, I've had 3 home cooked meals. I've been there 2 weeks. Okay, 3 home cooked meals in Gambian Muslim households where I was taken care of.
Yeah.
And the experiences I've had are invaluable.
But look at the contrast to that. You got black women that'll come up here in the comment section and tell you that what you've experienced ain't what you've experienced. We on some straight, Jedi mind trick shit. You're gonna actually come up into a group of men and tell them that y'all aren't experiencing what you say you're experiencing. And yet this brother can tell you he's had home cooked meals. And the fact that we have to talk about 3 meals as significant in and of itself should tell you something.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
My viewpoint on this is, look, it's a constant dripping, like having to continuously be in competition with women over masculinity itself. And this is what we actually are involved in. It's a competition over masculinity itself. And we can't set the terms of how the game is to be won related to actual masculinity because we got to play handicap. I mean, it's all we have to acknowledge that we can't play the game to the fullest extent that we can play it. So we got to let you win. Or otherwise, we're not going to be manly or masculine by not letting you win. Like, it's, have you ever gone to an arcade with a girl and you let her win at the game because you didn't want to be overly competitive with her? Like if you're playing like ski hockey, whatever they call that little hockey machine that you play with, and it's like a disc, and air hockey, right? Or you playing a little basketball game. You can beat her, or skee ball or something like that. But you're trying not to be super competitive. You're just there to have fun and let the kids or whatever the case have fun, right?
Right.
But if you turn it up and you get down how you can, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's an asshole. He's a jerk.
But here's the rub on that, Gigi. When you let her win, and she she turns around and celebrates it like she just dunked on you. Like there was a time you let a girl win, she knew you let her win. You smiled, it was cute, you enjoyed the day. But we in a situation now where she high-fiving her girls like, I won, and you like, are you serious? Really?
But here's the thing, right? So like, not to disrespect the Pat woman at all, but what men are telling women is something that women just are refusing to listen to. They don't want to hear it. It's like if we say, hey, look, we want you to be a little less competitive with us. We're on the same team. Like, there's no need for you to try to continuously be combative with me. What you need to do is you need to take the combative energy that you have and externalize it at the true enemy, which is the outside forces that are trying to bear in on what you and I are trying to, overcome. Like, don't battle with me. Team up and partner with me so we can do the alley-oop. Toss me the ball, man. Right. Don't toss the ball to the enemy. Toss it to me. If you get mad, everybody gets mad. But learn how to control your emotions and not to go nuclear to the point where you're destroying everything you work for an ephemeral moment of satisfaction where you feel like you can be a boss and use proxy violence against us.
Right.
Don't do that. Like, the Bible already tells you what to do. Look at Proverbs. Ain't it Proverbs 31 to tell y'all what to do? Like, being a woman doesn't mean that you just get to live a soft life on a man's dime. That's not what the shit is supposed to be about. It never was supposed to be about that. But see, the problem is today, we haven't been taught how to become one.
Yeah.
That's not, what is happening in our homes is a low level conflict of nigga, you ain't shit. And I mean, I'm just telling you from personal experience. Like, I've had, shout out to Sigma Black too, man. Let me give him a shout out.
Oh,
I put on BGS.
He needs a round of applause for that.
No, I'm about to give him some fanfare, man. Okay. I'm talking about, first of all, I have a doctoral degree. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that degree should be utilized as a means by which to demonstrate my superiority over anybody at all, okay? Never have I ever made a claim like that. The only thing I'm saying is don't diminish the importance of my degree because you don't understand what it is that I know, or you don't see the relevance or the importance of my area of inquiry at the university or you don't understand its contribution to society in general. You think it's useless, okay? Pointless. Like, imagine me as a man telling a woman who's an elementary school teacher that, like, the shit that you teaching kids really is unimportant and y'all failing at the fucking job anyway. Just imagine me telling a woman some shit like that. But women have no qualms whatsoever of telling you that the shit that you know is theoretical, hypothetical, and it really is not relevant at all. I've been told this by a fucking elementary school teacher. Mm-hmm. Now, she had a master's degree, but I mean, the thing is, it doesn't matter if you have it or you don't have it. If you don't have it, it's you dusty because you don't have it. If you do have it, you're dominating and oppressive and chauvinistic because you have it. So at the end of the day, it's like you can't win. If you make more money, then you're financially abusive. If you don't have enough money, then you're a dusty ass nigga.
Yeah, that's
so it's what men are asking for is for women to, if they're going to be in a relationship. To me, submission is an overly charged term. It's charged. Okay, it's politically charged at the current moment, right? As it pertains to relationships. But what I mean. And I want to be specific about what I mean. I mean, to me, submission means don't continue a low level of conflict with me and a low level of contempt for me in my own home. Mm-hmm. Don't basically start passive aggressive fights with me. Like, don't stonewall me and don't basically, have continuous grudges with me over superficial bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about this? Don't assault me or insult me or try to belittle me because you're in your fifis or you're going through that time of the month or whatever the case may be.
Klingons, yeah. Cicely Tyson said this years ago, right? And I got the video in the back about how black women actually see us in relationship. If you want to pull it up. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, you can pull it up. But I got more. Like, I only scratched the surface, and I don't want to keep y'all all day. Okay. So I'm gonna look at this shit. So here's this. This is a woman's take on Passport Bros.
Okay.
First, it was Kevin Samuels. Then it was Andrew Tate. Now it's Austin Holloman. You say women hit the wall, but it seems as if the walls are closing in on you. You run from street block to street block. Neighborhood to neighborhood, country to country, from sea to shining sea, looking for women who you say have no value, while simultaneously making memes like this go viral. Everyone you meet will come with baggage. Find someone who loves you enough to help you unpack. Notice the male here has mental traumas, insecurities, trust issues, stress, toxic ex, and a bunch of other things. And he's upset because women in America allow him to be the bag lady. Bag brother, you gon' hurt your bag.
Oh my God, like, come on.
Here we go.
Like that. You take you wherever you go. And they don't want it in Brazil. First, it was Kevin Samuels.
So in other words, we're not, like, nobody wants us because we all fucked up, right?
Yeah, yep.
But here's the thing about that. I don't even want to go back to the image, but the image was like, okay, it's enough trauma to be passed around. Mm-hmm. But instead of looking at the female's trauma and the shit that they got going on, all the trauma is basically set at the foot of men. Like, we're the only people traumatized by the experience of slavery, racism, Jim Crow, or whatever the case may be. Like, we're the only ones traumatized by it, and it has an impact on our psychological health and well-being. We're the only ones. Mm-hmm. Them, they're free.
And what's interesting is that from this travel perspective, if trauma is the case, travel is the way to resolve the trauma.
Yes.
Travel is a way to heal.
Yes.
They keep telling us that we need to heal there with them or what have you.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that travel is healing itself. Travel is, I have to go back to my Christian background, it is the balm in Gilead. That's what travel is. Okay. That's what makes you whole. That's what repairs you, getting away from them.
Mm.
That's what makes you complete. That's what makes you indifferent. Here's the thing, I'm completely indifferent now. Indifferent. All right. I don't care what Black women think about Black men. I don't care about what they do in their lives. I don't care about the gynocracy at this particular point. I continue travel now to detox myself from the so-called traumas and certain the so-called pain and all the psychobabble that they continue to put out there on Passport Bros. You understand? This is our healing.
Let me ask you something, Dr. Neal. That first trip back from Brazil or the first trip back from Africa, you and I had a conversation. And I remember I asked you, how do you see the gynocracy coming back, getting off the plane, right? I said, how do you see them now? I mean, how do you feel about it? Can you answer that now for people?
I will say I don't see the gynocracy. And what I mean by that is that, again, I'm completely indifferent. I see that what we've been dealing with is a foreign entity, something that has been socially constructed over centuries, over generations, and what have you. I've come to understand that it's something that, and I said this in my most recent video, it's irreversible. And I'm going to tell you this, man. So my travel experiences have just given me a completely different orientation. You know, Brazil, you know, and I had traveled before going to, you know, before Brazil, I had been to, you know, to London and Paris, and, you know, I've been to Jamaica and, you know, Canada and what have you, man. But, you know, the Brazil trip was very profound, man. You know, I went back to back, you know, within one summer. And you know, and then, you know, a year later, I traveled to Africa, you know, to Senegal. I take 2 trips. My first trip is for 2.5 weeks. Then I decided to go back 2 months later and spend an entire month, you know, in Senegal, man. And you know, my indifference was deepened in Senegal because of the culture, because of the environment, because of the climate, because I had different interactions with people, with women. It was something that just reset my entire life. And I'm going to say this: I'm in Gambia, man. I've been here for 2 weeks, and I'm going to be in Africa for another week or so. And the longer that I'm here, and the more that I travel, the less interested I'm in all the machinations, all the demonizations towards Black men that are part of the gynocracy.
I ain't never coming home.
I got to come home, but something is. I've been converted. I'll put it like this: I've been converted. I've been transformed. It's. I mean, again, you know, it's having a new mind. And the thing about it is that, you know, this is a part. It's not just a part of, you know, Black American women, but it's a part of this whole Western thing that we're dealing with. This Western / American thing.
So the scales are falling. The scales are falling from your eyes, huh?
There you go. You know, I knew it was even before these experiences. It was already there, but these experiences just simply it pushed me over a cliff. It pushed me over a cliff, man. You know, and I said this in my most recent video. You know, I saw what happened with Tyree Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee. You know, which was tragic. You know what I mean? But I was not. You know, I saw the commentary. I saw what Jason Whitlock said about it and how it set the gynocracy off. And I did not have any real feelings about that whole situation. You know, I'm sympathetic towards it, and I know that it can happen to any one of us. But I know that entire case is tied to something that's deep within us as Black people, something that we refuse to reckon with as Black people, just as a collective. And standing outside of it in another country, another culture, and I've been dealing with
Oh, he dropped out. He is in Gambia right now. So
Well, can I say something?
go ahead.
I think what I find interesting, and BGS said something a few years ago that stuck with me, and I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to say it exactly the way he did, but he talked about the more you argue with these women, the more you're still invested. But when you find yourself truly disconnecting from this dysfunction, you don't even engage the arguments. You just, there's no point. So there used to be a time you can get an argumentative woman that'll come up in a bunch of men's spaces and just start a bunch of shit just because she's there. And to me, I mark the difference on where men are based on how much we just are indifferent about these constant, arguments, these attempts to to rile people up, to piss men off, and all the sign language involved, the gaslighting, the disrespect. When I see men that just thoroughly check out to the point where you are content in life to the point where arguing with random women and feminists in particular just becomes irrelevant, that's what I look for as the mark of it. And I've felt it myself in this last 5 years. More and more indifference to this. But BGS could say it better than I could, but he talked about this years ago. And I see it happening.
Yeah, you care to comment on that? Follow him up, BGS.
I think that's what I think that's a progression. I think that's especially since it's the last, I would say, the last 20 years that people have grown, black men have grown tired of the same old thing, right? And especially since COVID happened, really kind of accelerated this kind of thinking um, that, that they can't change. This is who they are. There's no sense of talking to them, right? They can't change, right? We used to go back and forth about this. Is it they're unwilling to change, or can they really change? And now we're actually finding out that they can't change. This is who they are. So you have to move on because they're not gonna. It's not gonna get better. Either accept them of who they are, or actually go someplace else.
And
Is
the
this what
funny
you want?
thing is, look, here's the funny thing about all of this, right? So at the same time that we're getting criticized
Right.
for going elsewhere to, travel and to see the world, to have different experiences, while they're also doing the same thing. Like, don't
Right.
get it twisted.
And
They
they've
are
been doing
also
it.
doing the exact same thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is ironic to begin with. Like, I mean, they haven't put a name to it, but I mean, they're traveling and having sex and doing everything else under the sun that we're getting accused of doing ourselves. But before I even finish, though, let me say this. Blaze Skywalker says they lead with their experiences and ready to hint or ask what you can do for me or show new. Women are misinformed on how to be women, and that's his contribution. Ultimately, they want something. They want something from you, a lifestyle. They don't want you. How often do you hear women say, "I want a good man with a certain set of values"?
Right. Very soft.
You just hear women
That's
saying, "I want a nigga who's making a certain amount of cash."
Right.
I don't hear them saying, "I want a resolute, God-fearing man." I don't hear them saying that. I'm sorry. I just don't hear that kind of conversation being conducted. I don't hear that. I hear the bottom line is I want money. I want resources and cash.
Yeah.
And if you ain't got, you don't meet a certain set of criteria, you don't even have a chance. Swipe left.
Yeah. Yeah. I think since the iPhone, since the dating apps, that's caused it. Even the white guys are saying that now, that the price has gotten too high. The juice is not worth the squeeze anymore.
And so, but not only are they saying this, they're shaming men. Now they've gotten into the practice of shaming the women that men are traveling to see.
Oh, yeah.
So now you got women caught up into this bullshit.
And they ain't having it, bro.
No, they're not.
So here's what one woman has to say. This is from Dennis Spurley's channel, but this is what one woman has to say about being critiqued. Because the first critique is, okay, well, they don't want you, Dusty. Then it goes from they don't want you, Dusty. Then you go over there, you see evidence of men getting picked up and treated with respect
Right.
and honored over there. And then it becomes, well, those women are uneducated, they're barefoot, and they're conciliatory and dumb. They're just destitute.
Yeah, dirty feet chicks. That's what the lingo is.
Okay? They're destitute. Okay?
I'm tired.
But
you had to go to the hair. That's unfair. That's low blow.
it's some shots fired, man. That's a fire. Yeah, there's some shots fired, right? But to be quite honest, these women deserve it.
Yes.
Not all of them, because not every woman is coming out saying this kind of shit. Okay?
Most of them.
But a lot of women are brazen as hell. Like, these women are undesirable. These women are uneducated. These women are just docile and dumb. You know, like, come on, man. Like, how can you be a person who, for all intents and purposes, who lives in the third world inside of the first world, and then go out and offer a critique about how backwards other people in the world are, but you're a second-class citizen in the country in which you live? And had to go through slavery and Jim Crow and still ain't getting treated properly. But now you got a arrogant colonial mindset to the point where you're like, okay, well, these other people are inferior to you in comparison to you, because I'm a first world lady.
Yeah.
Sounds like racism to me. It sounds like racism.
It sounds like some Karen shit to me is what it sounds like.
A wee bit of white supremacy, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but then we'll turn around and tell black men that passport bros are colonizing other countries.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're doing so in a pedophilic manner on top of everything else. Even though you can find on Twitter brothers from Jamaica and other countries talking about how black American women have approached them when they were underaged, knowingly so, trying to secure sex from them for cash. But somehow that became the way of framing passport bros. So now you got this whole question of colonizing other countries and being pedophiles. This is the kind of shaming kind of language that we get.
So shout out to David Bird. He says it's the wall of indifference. Dr. Johnson, appreciate the scholars.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Mr. Black 80OS. He says 62nd and happy to leave next month. 62 and happy to leave next month.
Yep.
You know, like, guys are like, man, like, what is all of this, man? Like, guys are like really actually frustrated because they genuinely want to meet people who are actually willing to become one. A lot of these guys. But what they keep, and I'm not saying that there are guys who are not assholes and who are manipulative and who are exploiters, not saying that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing though is, like, man, look, you got guys out here who meet the criteria of these women, and it still ain't good enough.
Like the gentleman in this circle right here. Okay.
Man, that's it. I can tell you,
1%.
Man, the shit ain't good enough.
No.
Even with women who say, well, I want an educated man making so many dollars and so on and so forth. You can be tripling her income. It still don't matter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter. You like Dr. Johnson said earlier, when you do what you're supposed to do, that becomes a bone of contention. Look, I'm telling you, There's nothing you can do if the person that you're connected to has got a problem. And the problem is just you, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter what you do. If the problem is just you for breathing, nigga, then it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to create an issue out of anything, even if there's no issue to create. She'll make one.
Man, look, I swear to God, I took just to understand women more after I already completed my coursework and to be part of justice as I saw it. I went and took feminist courses. I didn't have to do that shit. I did it because I wanted to understand. I wanted to become enlightened and to get more information on the plight that women went through and shit, right? So they don't like the fact that they do double duty work. So they want men to help with the housework. No, they don't. I had a woman she got mad at me because I was doing more housework than she was. Like, I thought you bitches was mad. Let me stop saying that. I thought y'all was mad because we wasn't doing enough housework. So I started doing more housework, and the more I did, it's like you upstaging me.
Yeah, you're embarrassing her. Yeah.
Now the house so clean, ain't no fingerprints on the motherfucking glass.
Yeah.
I'm talking about where the table where we just messed the fuck out of it the day before. Ain't no fingerprints on it. Ain't no fingerprints on the coffee table. Ain't no crumbs on the floor. The shit's vacuum.
Yeah.
I'll be goddamn if I'm at the crib, because, as a professor, you ain't got to go to class all day, every day. You got to teach maybe 3 courses. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got to be in school all damn day. So before I leave, and the class ain't always early in the morning either. Sometimes you can have an afternoon class you're teaching. You ain't got to be at the school till 12, and then you got to stay maybe to 5 or 6 or something like that, and you done taught the class or whatever. Okay? Or you got them back to back, and you got your schedule set up to where it's like, okay, I ain't got to be there every day. So the days you ain't there, you making sure shit's straight, clean, whatever. Resent it.
Yep.
Oh, you wash clothes like a woman. Well,
Yeah,
bitch, what do you do then? Because you sure ain't washing the motherfuckers. Then what you doing then? I always say, man, housework today has been made so fucking easy. I don't understand why anybody's complaining about it. If you got dishes, put the motherfuckers in the dishwasher. Nowadays, they got garbage disposals and dishwashers, man.
Yeah.
You got kids who won't fucking put the dishes in the dishwasher. That's too much of a fucking laborsome task for them. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Cooking today has been made easy as hell. You ain't got to raise bread no more and churn milk in the butter and shit.
And kill pigs and
kill chickens. Yeah. Wring the necks off of chickens. Yeah.
no.
I cook every other day, and I'm a better cook than most of the chicks I done came into contact with.
That's the problem right there.
I mean, I'm not trying to be ignorant, but if you don't cook go ahead.
I would suggest that these women come to Africa and see how they cook and see how they labor in the household, okay? Because they're still, I mean, and it's not true for all African women or what have you, but the traditional agrarian style cooking, and I've seen it and I've experienced it for myself, man, it's still alive. And here's the thing, there's no complaining. There's no complaining. There's no grievances. It's a part of the culture, okay? They're not seen as slaves.
Right.
It's not seen as this burdensome task or what have you. It's a part of survival.
And the funny thing about the shit is, the shit you complaining about doing for a man, you don't mind doing this shit. You just don't want to do it for nobody. Especially a man. You do it for the kids and all this. You will cook for your kids and all this shit. But you feel like you and the kids are the center of the family. A nigga is just an addendum, a fucking cancer, a malignant tumor.
Yeah. And how dare you do something for him?
Like how can you be in a relationship with a motherfucker and you ain't gonna serve him? It makes no sense. It's like you, again, being on a basketball team, but you don't perceive the motherfucker who's supposed to be the head of the team as a team member.
Look, man,
according to your own fucking logic.
Man, I can't tell you how many brothers in the last 5 years alone have told me stories about bringing a woman with them to, say, a family reunion or a family gathering. And when she goes to get him a plate, everybody stops and stares. And the men's jaws have dropped watching this woman bring him a plate. The women are offended and the men are shocked. Something as simple as a woman bringing him a plate. And I can't tell you how often I've had men tell these stories when they go find women who are willing to do that. Even Black American women who are willing to serve their man a plate will have the room on pause. Make that make sense.
Man, look, let me shout out this brother Nate Tyler here. I want to give him a nice one here. I want to give him a little fanfare here, man, for that $50 holler, man. Appreciate that, my brethren. So, I'm GG. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. If you didn't know, this is the place where black men can express themselves freely. And we're just giving our reflections on Passport Bros. Like, what's the big problem with it? Everybody got a problem with it. And mainly, like people who want to keep the community together through black love, even though it ain't no love. You ever heard the song, Love Don't Live Here Anymore? And it ain't like you ever heard the song, You Gotta Let It Burn, Usher? This party ain't jumping like it used to. Even though she's my boo-boo. Y'all let it burn. Y'all let it burn.
I think you might have to.
Know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if I'm trying and you trying, she's crying her heart to me. Please just don't let this be. I just need time to sing where I wanna be. You gotta try something. If what you're doing is not working, you gotta try something different. They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
And brothers have tried arguing, polite conversation, subtle cajoling, everything under the sun. It has yielded nothing.
Yeah. Even through Kevin Samuels at them for like 2 years, nothing.
And this is the crux of what I keep saying. We can talk about relationships and that's important. But here's the thing. On a larger scale, any ideology you have for the upliftment of the black community is still going to rely on a foundation of men and women being able to get along and form families.
Yeah.
And if that is becoming more and more unfeasible, unfeasible, like if it can't happen, I don't care what your philosophy is. It will not work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're a revolutionary nationalist. I don't care if you're the hardest Republican conservative. It doesn't matter. None of this will work if black men and women can't get together, communicate, and form families. So that's why this issue for me is so important, because there's nothing beyond it if this is not resolved. And black men have not been able, first of all, we've been fairly silent as far as having any major platform push back on any of the slander against black men in the last 50 years. We've been fairly silent. It's only been in the last decade when black men got a platform in social media that they had to build a presence for. Black women got Hollywood. Hollywood invited them to a stage prepared for them so they can vent their issues with black men to the world. Black men were not invited to any stage. We created a space where we talked to one another and we started to share our concerns and compare notes. Black women invaded this space only after the pandemic, when it became a necessity to engage black men, and they invaded the space with a lot of sign language, to be truthful. And it's still happening, but there's been no serious attempt to collaborate and work with black men. So black men have gone monk. I mean, I'm meeting 14-year-old monks. I've never seen that in my life. I mean, grown men in their 50s and 60s who are traveling for the first time, and they are coming back with significant relationships and girlfriends in a relatively short period of time. And these brothers are happier than they've ever been in their 60s, contemplating having new families with women they just met in other countries because the engagement is so peaceful. This is where we are. And unfortunately, these are the percentage of brothers that Black women claim they want. These are the brothers that can afford to travel. That's what makes this significant on a whole nother level. You talk about wanting men that can provide security. Well, guess who the ones who are going overseas are? The ones who can afford to.
Man, this crazy. So look, here's a brother says, she just want to get a green card. Check this out.
You know, I've always been the type of man, the type of person to call out hypocrites, right? So, I want to ask you ladies something. And fellas, please feel free to share this video, okay? I want y'all to share it because I need answers. So if a man decides to go overseas, right? He goes somewhere, he marry a woman in a different country with a different background. Y'all gonna say she just a gold digger, she just using you, she just want to get her green card, she just wants your money, she just wants your resources, right? You go and say she a gold digger, but in the same breath, you won't even date a guy if he don't make 6 figures. Somebody please explain that to me. Please help me make sense of that statement. So she a gold digger, but then you won't even date a man if he make less than 6 figures. You know,
it's just surprising. And you know, here's some more clapback. I'm gonna play a couple of them in succession so that you know, we can get through them more quickly.
Talking about how they are sick of women in America and how they're going to get their passports and go overseas and find them a wife. Well, the truth of the matter is you don't want a wife. You want a slave.
What do you mean? So me doing my partner's laundry is a maid, not a wife? Hello, did you know that a lot of Filipina can do from left to right, back to front, top to bottom? You know, my friend, if you marry a Filipina or if your girlfriend is Filipina, you're very lucky. You know why? We Filipina can do everything, pretty much everything. If you marry a Filipina, you don't have to worry about having a dirty house. You don't even have to worry about having an empty stomach. And most of all, if you're sick, you don't have to worry about hiring a nurse because we can be the nurse. And also, if you're having kids with a Filipina, you don't have to worry about bringing a nanny because the Filipina parents will take care of the kids.
Right? Somebody that is more of an object, more of a trophy wife, somebody that they can control, essentially. And she's, you know, English won't be her first language.
These women are in dire financial need.
She's not gonna work. She's just gonna be a housewife. No. That's never gonna happen. Because as I said, we Filipina can do everything. We can be a wife. We can also make money of our own. And heck, we can even be a carpenter if you want us to be a carpenter. And all we really need from you is respect us and love us very much. And in return, we will give you the whole wide world.
Yeah, no.
Clap back.
I mean, that's these women saying, and look at this. Here's a passport, sis. You know what I'm saying? This is on Dennis's channel. Look, peep it out. Passport, sis.
Get me out of Jamaica because these niggas said they don't eat pussy and his lady don't respect him if you want him to eat pussy. Ziggy Marley, this why you paddling alone, because you're not eating pussy. You rather stay here to eat pussy. Well, then you don't want a green card. Eat some pussy, you get a green card. Eat some pussy, yeah. Get me.
Man, ain't that crazy, man?
You gonna call somebody alone, but you came to their country alone.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy, man?
Yeah.
That's what we talking about, man. That's ridiculous.
So you done took that energy over to Jamaica and shit. And we can't say these chicks ain't got this energy, bro.
Yeah.
It's out there. Like the mood, the energy, the disposition, it's out there. And we know men got shit with them. We ain't saying that there's no shit with men. I'm not saying that. All we're saying is that there's some shit with y'all that's on some different levels, man. It's different levels.
You know, just real quick, one of the things that gets me on YouTube too is when you post this you play this kind of stuff, people say, well, that's just a skit. That's just a skit. And it's like, look, the reason they're doing the skit is because it resonates with what people have actually experienced.
Yep.
So even when it is a skit, I don't blink when I'm playing it because I'm like, this still speaks to something that's happening. But people get real tripped off into that lately. It's funny to me.
But notice that those guys, if you listen to the skit carefully, basically the Jamaican men, the Caribbean men, they're putting boundaries on those women.
Uh-oh.
That is that there are some things we ain't doing with y'all. We not going there with y'all. In other words, you're not going to get the total submission that you think you're going to get from us. And so it's interesting that Miss Single and Independent and Miss Boss Chick, she's complaining. She has these grievances because these men in these countries, the Caribbean in particular, are not doing everything that she wants them to do.
I mean, it's arrogance.
You eating the box. They're not gonna eat that old corroded snatch. They know where it's been. They know where it's been.
I mean, can you imagine the audacity of somebody saying, I've not even heard any passport bro say no ignorant shit like that on no channel. Like, suck the nigga dick or you don't get a green card, bitch. Have you ever heard anything like that, man? That's crazy to me, bro. That's crazy. Let's look at another one, man. Check this out. This is from Shared Chardonnay.
Let it be clear, women have stated emphatically in the West that they don't want to submit. Submission is always a touchy topic of conversation. They have made it very clear that either they don't want to submit, or if they do submit, it's going to be on particular terms. It depends on the time of day, depends on the moon, the orientation of the moon. It depends upon their particular mood. Like, women have made it clear here, like they don't want to submit, and traditional women are either pick-me's or it's under the patriarchy. So it's like, if this is what has been made abundantly clear in this American dating market, men who decide to leave that and go abroad to find women who are okay being traditional or submissive, there should be nothing wrong with that. Why? Because as American women, by and large, we have rejected that position. So if we have rejected that position, then there should be no issue with men going and finding women who are willing to accept that position. Let it be clear.
I mean, like, you don't want to play the game.
Yeah.
And look, I already told you what I meant by submission. To me, submission is not getting a woman to hop on one foot and to claim, whatever you want, whatever you like, where you want to go today, whatever you like, Eddie. No. That's not the point, man. The point is to actually, to me, to consent to what you agreed to or what you signed up for in the first place. To be a motherfucker's wife. No, don't be my husband. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to, be in competition with me. Don't try to tell me what the fuck to do. Don't try to be aggressive or play passive-aggressive games with me. Don't punch me. Don't slap me. Don't try to withhold affection and love from me because you going through a motherfucking temper tantrum and don't have the ability to circumscribe your emotions. Be yourself. I mean, you don't have to be obsequious and genuflect. Men don't even give a fuck about that shit. They just want somebody to treat them like a human being. They act like they actually give a fuck about them. They care. These women are essentially saying, but okay, let me just say this. There's three kind of relationships, right? There's a relationship that's based on nothing but pleasure. That's a hedonistic relationship. There are relationships based on utility. Those are just, okay, I'm not a friend to you or I'm not in a relationship with you if you can't do something for me and I can't do something for you. As soon as you don't get what you want from it, then the relationship dissolves, okay? And the first relationship that I said based on hedonism, if there's a moment of discomfort or the pleasure ceases to exist, then that relationship dissolves as well. Then you have relationships that are based upon people who want to see you succeed just as much as they want to see themselves succeed, because to them, you succeeding is just like them succeeding. That's true friendship and true love. I don't see that shit. I don't even see women asking for that or demanding that. I just hear a bunch of chicks saying, hey, I want a nigga who can give me a certain lifestyle.
Yeah. ConcuSurf. Yeah.
I want a lifestyle. I'm entitled to a lifestyle because I got a box that I'm sitting on, and I got a fat ass and a cute face, and it's fuck you, pay me. Literally. And you have to ask yourself, man, why would a man sign up for that shit? Why? Why would he sign up to be in a sexless, loveless, passionate-less marriage? That's not keeping the black community together. That ain't building shit. Being in a loveless, passionless, unproductive, superficial ass relationship with black women by itself is not rebuilding the black community, bro. It's not, man.
I mean, you can't do anything with materialism and individualism. I mean, that's the bottom line, man. You can't build a solid relationship. You can't build a team, with someone who is, excessively self-interested and only sees you as an economic utility. I mean, it's just dehumanizing, and the two options I think that men have are either to just go it alone, not deal with American women in general, black women in particular, do that, or travel, get out of the country and find you a different group of women, find you a different culture, different environment where the dynamics are completely different.
Here's what another chick has to say. Listen to this woman here, man. Check out.
And this is why I be saying what I be saying on both my pages, because a lot of black men are walking around this bitch so fucking depressed about what women are saying about. And I don't know why this is a hard concept for some of y'all black ass to grasp, but there are black women out here that fucking hate y'all. And they doing this shit on fucking purpose. So let me just say something. I wouldn't give a fuck if you are 30, 40, or hell, even in your fucking 50s, and you are starting over trying to become a better man. That's a fuck enough. Because y'all are living in a world that was specifically designed for you to fail. It was not even designed for black people in general to fail. It was designed for the black man to fail. Okay? So the fact that your black ass is even trying to attempt to become a better you or expand your mind or discover who you really fucking are, that's a fucking enough. But y'all let women who fucking hate y'all destroy y'all mental. And that shit pisses me off. Because let me just say something. I've said this before on my other page, but I am 31 years old. And for the past maybe 6, 7, about 5, 6 years, I've always had a roommate. Every place that I rent out my master bedroom for the price of my rent. And I ain't never been called no bum. I ain't never been called, girl, you that old and you got roommates. That is just such this. All the shit that they say to y'all, I've never had anybody say it to me in my life. In fact, these same women call me smart. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the reason why when y'all catch me doing videos ducked off in hotel rooms, because one of the rules of my place is you ain't finna have no man up in here. And I don't believe in having rules for someone that doesn't abide to you. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all, ooh. Why did that boo-boo the fool have to comment on my shit? Because I was gonna make happy videos today, but that shit just hurt my fucking nerve. Because for a lot of black men, y'all let this shit get to y'all. Y'all will hear women say, if you can't buy me this, if you can't buy me that. Let me just let you in on a little secret. These bougie ass women that say shit like this, they are drinking wine on a beer budget. After they pay their rent, their car note, they don't have no money left over. They want you to fund the rest of their lifestyle. Okay? There are black women out here that hate fucking black men. Please stop letting these women get to y'all. Okay?
Man, that's crazy, man.
I agree.
Let me say something real quick. This is what I was going to say a little bit earlier. This low boiling contempt, as Kevin used to call it, this constant resentment, which she's also addressing, and I appreciate her for doing that. It's become such a constant. What I think is produced is argument as a form of communication in black relationships, like argument in and of itself. And when black men do not want to have relationships where argument is a constant mode of communication, you actually have a breakdown right there between many black men and women on the basis of argument. Men are getting increasingly tired of it. There are times when you can feel the years coming off your life behind this. And for her, it's just a way of communicating that she's comfortable with. And they don't even often see a problem when you bring it up. But the point is to go somewhere else and engage someone that doesn't have a low boiling contempt for you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The argument is not even in her repertoire for how she should communicate with you. I mean, the first time I saw a functional couple have an argument, I didn't even know it was a damn argument.
Hey man, check this out.
That was so calm, and he had to tell me it was an argument afterwards. And then they asked me to leave so they could make love to make up for it. I didn't even know it was an argument.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because look, and that brings me to this short right here. Peep it out. Listen to it now. And this is what I'm talking. This is what men are experiencing. And it's too pervasive.
Signs that you're dealing with an insecure or emotionally immature woman. They do not take accountability for their actions. They blame other people for their mistakes. They get defensive when confronted. They overreact. They don't communicate about their feelings. Instead, they have tantrums. They are either the one extreme, extremely aggressive, or the other extreme, they're passive aggressive. Okay, they do not take insight. They blame other people for their issues. They have a history of high drama, toxic relationships. They don't have their own identity. They are codependent. They don't have relationships that are interdependent. Their self-worth is dependent upon the relationship. They think everyone is a threat. They think everything is about them. They take everything personally. They overreact. These are some signs of an emotionally immature and insecure woman. And you guys need to be aware of that because there's some toxic women out here.
That's all we saying. That's all we saying. And it just so happens that we know it's a lot of trauma out here. We know what racially, institutionally, systemically we dealing with. We understand that. We get it. But damn, man, it's a hell of a thing, man, to have to come home, man, and to go through that shit again. We already experienced it from the superstructure, the cultural environment in which we live outside in the world. But then we don't create safe havens for ourselves in the spaces that we call our own homes. It's like our own homes, our own domiciles are fucking cursed, man. Who wants to deal with that shit?
We've never even learned that that's not only a priority for men, we've never seen it modeled. Most of our fathers, you know what their safe spaces were? Being ran out the damn family via family court proxy. A lot of those cats, that was their safe space, actually being ran out. We only talk about deadbeat dads. We don't talk about the other side of the coin as to why many men weren't in the family. They were ran out.
Yeah, they were.
But for those fathers that were there, or even stepfathers for that matter, boyfriends that we grew up with as father figures, they didn't have any safe spaces, and nobody was ever taught that they should create one.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that, look, I just keep re-emphasizing this point. We're not saying that black men don't have any issues at all, okay? And some people might think I'm just trying to be conciliatory by saying that. I'm not saying, I'm just saying we've already addressed and dealt with a whole bunch of shit related to how men are deficient, insufficient, backwards, troglodytish, whatever the case may be. We done heard all the arguments. But we're just saying from like a black male perspective what's going on with us, how we perceive what's going on, and the kind of, sentiments we have and the thoughts and the ruminations that we have about like needing to, like back in the day, like Kool in the Gang said, it's too hot, lady. It's time to run for shelter. It's time to run for shade. What a mess we've made. So long ago, you were my love. But it got too hot. It's too hot up in here, man. It's like Nelly, but it ain't in a good way. It's hot. Not sexually hot. It's just hot with enmity and disgust and contempt. Who wants to deal with a motherfucker that... I don't even want to try to talk to a motherfucker that got contempt for me.
Let me say this, guys. So GG is older than me, and so is BGS. I'll be 50 in September, man. And I can tell you guys, I have no interest in going back to that old model. None whatsoever. I have no interest in entertaining that model that we came up under. Okay? The argumentative, belligerent, combative, vitriolic woman. That model is played out, is obsolete, is dead. I've got maybe another 15, 20 years ahead of me. Okay? And I'm going to ride this thing out in my happiness and my peace. And that's what the passport bros phenomenon is all about. That's what travel ideology is all about. That you can opt out. It's a choice. You can opt out. You don't have to participate in this thing that we're talking about that we know so well. You don't. Black men have a choice. You know, you can move beyond, and we have our grievances, and we have our lamentations and complaints. But yes, we can, because we have agency and sovereignty. We can actually, especially within our personal lives, we can move beyond it. Yes, Black men were driven out. They were driven out their home. But right now, Black men are walking away voluntarily. Not about being driven out. It's voluntarily walking away.
And they're not walking anymore. They're running, Dr. Neil. like Kunta Kinte, man.
Hey, man, you know, like, look, hey, that's funny.
Like Kunta Kinte, well, fuck Toby, okay?
But here's the reality, though. Like, you know, all Black men do is get told that, like, they're sexist, rapist, abusers, right? Mm-hmm. They're insufficient, lazy, no good, didn't do nothing nakers. Mm-hmm. Who, you know, all of these images are being thrown to us. There's a low boiling contempt for us, man. We just have to reconcile ourselves with the facts, okay? It ain't like Black men ain't tried love. It's not as if we're not even trying now. But it's like some guys is like, look, this is a lot to deal with, man. like this is a lot. This attitude and shit.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm convinced it's irreversible. This is irreversible.
Yeah, I think so.
It's irreversible. It's cross generational. Let me just say this, man. 20-year-olds. I'm gonna be honest with you. I come to the Gambia, man. I could talk to 20-year-olds, man. 23, 24, 25.
Yeah.
They are in a different world in relationship to 20-year-olds in the US. Okay? The mentality, the worldview, it is just completely different. Okay? I've been a college professor going on 20 years. Okay? And I can tell you, and Dr. J can tell you, and we've taught a lot of Black female students, okay? And we've dealt with the same belligerence, resentment, vitriol from students. Not all students now, not all students. But we've dealt with enough of it to know that this is a cross-generational thing, okay? When you're in a different culture, I'm in Africa again, man. In Africa, it's a completely different dynamic in terms of how people interact with one another. You don't have, you know, Kevin Samuels, he had that situation on his show, and actually over and over again, when you had these young women, 21 years old, 22 years old, talking down to him like he was a doggone child, and even a dog. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. You can't imagine that. You can't imagine that in the context that I'm in right now. You're not going to have some 22, 23-year-old talking down to a man who's 50 years old, 60 years old, twice her age. It's not tolerated. It makes no sense. And so what we're dealing with is irreversible. It cannot be changed. It can't be changed. If it does change, it will change. I think if it does change, it's going to change due to forces beyond our control. Globalization, natural forces.
Yeah.
Environment.
That's going to happen, but you can't socially engineer this thing in a different direction.
Yeah, so before I move forward, I just want to shout out T Fitness for You.
Appreciate the Cash App, man. Appreciate that, man. Straight up. You know. Also to Listen Brother, man, that was a great TV show back in the day. Listen Brother, man, that was a beautiful television show, man, back then, man. Shout out to that brother, man. And the Cash App does work, man. It's $G with a PhD, man. Hit the Cash App, man. Cash App up. Show some support, man. I appreciate y'all, man, for being here and joining me anyway. But, you know, show some support if you can. I want to show some appreciation to Mr. Heat. Shout out to him. He deserves some fanfare here. Appreciate your generous support, sir. I really do. And shout out to David Price. Appreciate that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Ray Knowles. Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate that. Want to give a shout out to Big Black Bubba. You know, that sounds good in the free world, but maybe not so in prison, bro. But, you know, shout out to Big Black Bubba. I'm just, you know, I gotta be facetious, man. Tell some jokes here and there, man. You gotta laugh to keep from crying, man. No disrespect to you. Thank you so much, sir, for your donation, man. I appreciate it greatly, man. And shout out to Gregory Allison for his contribution on the Cash App. Appreciate that, sir. Appreciate that, man. You know. So today, you know, I'm the Green Gorilla. This is the Green Gorilla channel on YouTube. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, we're offering up and proposing our ruminations on Passport Bros. You know, and look, I love black women, but goddamn, I don't want to be cursed out. I don't want to be abused. Niggas are tired of going through the Klingon mating ritual, man. We have evolved past that, man. It's like
ask Stacey about it from last week about the Klingon mating rituals.
Like niggas don't. You like me? Okay, if you love me, show me. Like you ever heard the song like from who was them women that said show it?
Oh yeah.
Prove it.
Yeah.
Say it. Do it. You know, niggas like, man. All them words about love and relationships and all that shit, Negroes are tired of hearing. What we don't have are relationships at all. Even when we're tethered together, we don't have relationships. We have miniature battles and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what black life in relationships consists of. Like the relationship is not one of mutual growth. It's one of constant conflict.
Yeah, it's competition. Constant competition. One up. You want peace and she wanted to get you told. So that she can actually go to her friends and actually brag about it. You know, the next day. I got my husband told yesterday. That Negro did this and I just had to tell him.
Mm-hmm. That's the priority.
That's getting priority. Told. Like what the fuck is getting told, man? Like,
yeah.
You need to start telling these start telling the bitches you fucking around with that's your partners and shit. Tell them to stay out your goddamn business. That's what you need to start telling them. I'm keeping it a buck right there. That's how most relationships end up fucked up.
Getting you told is the highest priority, sir.
Yeah.
You telling your motherfucking your so-called mate.
Mm-hmm.
You man, look, you motherfuckers got y'all priorities fucked up. You'll treat your partner right before you'll treat your own motherfucking husband right.
Yep.
You'll treat your partner right.
Yeah.
You'll show them love. You'll go out and buy them trinkets and shit, celebrate their achievements, all that shit.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your own fucking man, you will do everything you can to try to hamstring that motherfucker. For what?
This week on Love and Hip Hop. That's what you got.
Man, and it's tiresome, man. Look at what this white guy has to say. White guy.
Society has this really weird obsession with stripping the femininity away from black women.
All right, look, I'm sure this is going to get me into trouble, but I want to hear everybody's opinion on this. And please understand, I realize I'm making this observation as a white dude. That's why I want to hear everybody else's opinion. So she says that society is stripping away the femininity of black women. However, throughout my life, I've met very few feminine black women. Like seriously, when I think about all the women I've encountered in my life, and I think specifically about the black ones, I can honestly say that there's only been 1 or 2 instances where they've been feminine. The vast majority of black women I've encountered have been brusque and aggressive. And even though a ton of them have been absolutely fucking gorgeous, they were significantly more masculine than they were feminine. In the way they acted, not the way they looked. So my question is, do you think it's society doing it? Or is it just the behaviors of black women in society today?
Okay, so after watching this video,
society.
We all know what it is.
I'm not into, trying to belittle anybody. All I'm saying is, man, look, this is a stereotype about black women and their disposition, but it's grounded in truth because every stereotype is grounded in some sort of truth. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what T. Son Johnson means when he talks about how, like, these skits and shit like that, like to play on stereotypes. And it's funny because it's all predicated upon some shred of truth to a certain extent.
But Gigi, they actually ride with that stereotype. They cheer it on. They back it. It's not like they deny it. They cheer it. Look at all the TV shows and reality shows that they watch, right? They cheer this stuff on.
They high five each other.
Yes.
On being more masculine than the men they're engaging.
Yes.
So I can compete with you and be more dominant, or I can go find women where I don't even have to have that competition.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But part of their dominance is proxy, because she can call the police on you and she knows it. She can take you to court with a false accusation and she knows it. If you have a child with her, she can take you to family court. If you've been married to her, she can take you to family court. A lot of their quote unquote dominance is rooted in proxy power. Mm-hmm. So if I gotta out tough you, I have to out tough you and risk my freedom, risk my, everything I've worked for being sacrificed because you may pull the plug and call in one of these proxy resources simply because you can.
Or, just do some crazy shit like this.
Are you gonna walk out?
No, I want you to touch me. Okay. I'm waiting on
That's
you
not
to
gonna
touch
happen.
me.
Wow.
You just said you're gonna physically put me out, right?
No one's gonna physically touch you.
What's your name? Fresh and Fit. Go ahead, put me out.
Yeah.
Put me out.
Yeah. So she stepped on my foot. She did it again.
Oh, what?
Stepped on it again.
What? What?
Yeah, she assaulted me. So yeah, go and send the police. She assaulted me on camera. Are you gonna walk out?
Yeah.
Like, who wants to deal with some shit like that, bro? But this is a Western female problem at this point. So right now what they've done is they've exacerbated issues related to them being subjected to violence, but they never talk about or discuss the various ways in which they're violent themselves, and then they act like it's harmless. Like, oh, well, when a woman steps on your fucking bare foot and stomps on the shit, it's okay because that's a woman.
Yeah, and she does it because there are no repercussions.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You're not going to do it unless you're ready to go to jail because that's probably going to happen. She'll do it, and if police do take her away, she'll be shot.
That wasn't supposed to happen because they already know that they're not going to be punished in the same capacity as a man will be punished for anything. The same women who want equality, I say they don't want equality. They want benefits. Mm-hmm. They want power. Commensurate with that of men without having the same burdens as men. That's apparent. They only want the benefits of masculinity, not the burdens or the risks to be taken on by men in culture, society, or whatever the case may be. You think women are going to want to get up out of the bed when something goes bump in the night? No, you got to do that. You think women want to go out and go work to support a family? If, they don't have to? No, you're the one who's going to be expected to go out and do that. Car catches a flat, you're expected, not her, to get out of the car and to break the lugs on that goddamn tire. Not you. I mean, not her, but you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's any threat or any kind of physical violence that might occur and she's subjected to harm, she ain't gonna put herself at the center of it unless she a high drama chick. She gonna want you to handle and rectify it.
Yeah, it's they want a certain type of chivalry when it benefits them, but they don't want to, have to pay into it. They don't want to pay into it at all.
So shout out to Fat Cat here, man. I appreciate you, Fat Cat. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the donation. Appreciate that. And also, I want to give a shout out to Musab Yasir Bey. He says, bringing about Copernican changes requires equanimity in the face of ridicule, temerity during the time of tumult, stick-to-itiveness when it's bleak, and being tied to a righteous purpose. GG, BGS, Dr. Johnson, much love. Much love to you, sir. Appreciate you. You deserve a bomb for that one. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you one because that was pretty eloquent. But I mean, we are talking about trying to bring about paradigm shifts. And there's some of us who are resigned to the idea that maybe perhaps we don't have the capacity to create those shifts. And if we don't, life is too short and time is too precious. To be fucking around with a group of people who have signified to you that they have no desire to engage you for the substance that's supposed to accrue for being in a relationship in and of itself. The relationship is just basically a utility. You're going into a relationship solely for the purpose of a utility. Who wants to deal with some shit like that? Look at this shit. So now you got women who are like trying to have wife status, but they just girlfriends and shit. Look at this shit.
Let's watch this video on this new term that I learned from TikTok.
Welcome to another day in the life as a content creator / stay-at-home girlfriend.
She called herself a stay-at-home girlfriend.
Hey girls, welcome to a day in the life of a 24-year-old stay-at-home girlfriend.
Day in my life as a 24-year-old stay-at-home girlfriend.
This is what my mornings look like as a 25-year-old stay-at-home girlfriend.
Day in the life of a stay-at-home girlfriend.
Day in my life as a stay-at-home girlfriend.
Day in the life of a stay-at-home girlfriend.
I am manifesting being a stay-at-home girlfriend. I don't care about this work society hustle grind. No, I'm trying to chill for a little bit. I want to be a stay-at-home girlfriend.
That's new to me. I didn't know there was such a term called a stay-at-home girlfriend. But
what is this shit? These people want the privileges of wives and their girlfriends.
Yeah. They can't get married. They're not wife material.
all I would tell brothers is if you're going to do that mess, make sure you're not in a common law state.
Yeah. I try to tell cats, man. So I think that Western culture today is all about putting the cart before the horse. It's like, let's fuck, right. Let's cohabitate before we get married. I mean, I get it. Like, I'm not saying I haven't done it, but most cohabitations result in fucking dismal failures. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. Now, I'm not saying that they don't ever make it or whatever the case may be, but they often end as dismal failures. Because there's no commitment. Everybody always has one foot out of the door. There's no you're not 10 toes into it. You're only partially into it. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, we're just trying to give justification. Don't ever say we haven't explained to you what and I can't speak for every man in the manosphere, but I don't think we're unintelligent and ignorant and we don't have the capacity to express why it is that a large contingency of men are beginning to do this. And not saying that there aren't any men who have character flaws and there aren't any grievances that women can have directed towards men at all. Okay? Not saying any of that. But we're giving you women want to hear what men have to say about the reasons for which they're doing the things that they do. Now, either you can listen to what it is that we're articulating to you, so that you can understand what our grievances are and make adjustments individually if that's what you want to do. I mean, nobody can force you to do anything. But if you want to understand what this phenomenon is about, it's not about exploiting some woman from a second or third world country. No, that's not what it's about. It's about wanting to actually engage with women who understand that a relationship is not necessarily a constant low-level conflict encounter with another person.
You see, Gigi, man, you still care.
I know you don't give a shit. I know.
You still care. You still care, and I applaud you, my brother. You still care about the contract. You still care about some type of synergy between Black men and Black women, and I understand that. But men have preferences. We have preferences, and women have preferences, and I don't think that it's necessary for us to explain or to apologize or to defend this phenomenon. We can talk about it because we're talking primarily to Black men. But those of us who are leaving, it doesn't matter what our character is, it doesn't matter what our intentions are. We're free agents. We have sovereignty. We're grown people, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these women have not been, compelled to look deeply within the mirror and to reflect on themselves. And that's because, Western society has told them that they don't have to, that there's nothing wrong with them, and that they're perfect, and that they are, good just as they are. You understand? And this passport phenomenon, travel ideology, is doing something that they were not prepared for. And that is to take a close look at themselves. It's kind of like, back in the 80s and the 90s when, Black women were going, nuts over the small group of Black men who were dating white women. And just going ballistic over it, and going ballistic over people like Wesley Snipes, who were dating Asian women, and grieving about it. Spike Lee had Jungle Fever and that whole commentary in that film back in the early 1991. You know what I mean? And what we're doing, we're dealing with a completely different iteration of that, because even at that time, Black women were feeling some kind of way about Black men and white women. You know what I mean? And they were avoiding the introspection. When OJ left his wives and got him a white woman, you know what I'm saying? They deflected from any type of, internal investigation or what have you. And here we are, darn near, over 35 years later, dealing with it in a different way with passport bros, man. It is what it is, man. And, Black men have our preferences, and we can be colorists. We can want skinny women. We can want, light-skinned women, and we can want, for me, I prefer Black women. That's why I'm in Africa, bro. And I said this on my live stream. I like waking up in the bed with a Black woman by my side. That's why I'm in Africa. Okay.
Cooperative Black woman.
A cooperative Black woman, and it feels good when she's cooperative. BGS.
Man, and guys, like the certain things that women want that make them feel good, men have the same kind of desires, shit that make them feel good. And it just so happens that we can't get no act right where we at. So, we can't get no act right. You know what we gotta do?
Take your time to South Beach.
Run.
Yeah. Take your talents to South Beach. That's what you need to do.
So shout out to this brother, the Jack. He says that he was at a sports bar today, and a Black woman and a Black man sat beside him. She kept looking at what I was doing, which made me leave for the respect for the other Black man there. but she was fine as a motherfucker. Shout out to him for getting out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have been one of them situations where, you know,
fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know. But anyway, man, you know, it's one thing, you know. It's just like that. You know, Young Dolph said it a long time ago. You know what he said, man?
Keep it real with your dog no matter what. Preach. Same bitch decline, she love you, she'll set you up. Preach. Keep it real with your...
Facts, man. We got to deal with the facts. And too often, man, we don't deal with the facts, man. Check out what this woman here has to say, man. Look, she's being questioned. Like, what do women bring to the table in contemporary relationships? Check her out, right?
Why do women often tell themselves to never settle?
Oh, because we do so much work. Like, once you get into a relationship, we're going to be constantly doing all the work. So if you settle from the beginning, you're going to just be miserable. You're going to be settled.
Is the man not doing a lot of work by being a provider?
No, not necessarily.
Well, what's all the work that the women are talking about doing?
Well, we're kind of like our men's manager. Like, we make sure you're up on time. We make sure you're doing things right.
Did she just say she the man's manager?
Manager, the CEO, yeah. Managerial.
Wait.
You're the worker.
Shout out to my boy. He pulled his locks aside. Like, I want to hear. What is it?
Hell no. What? Hey, man, look. TikTok and YouTube shorts, man, is some great shit that has recently happened in social media, man. Like, I mean, I know it's been there, but like, you know, I'm a troglodyte. I'm 50 years old, man, but you know, it is what it is. Shout out to Fat Cat, man. He hit me up with another 20 ball, man. Appreciate that, brother, man. 25 ball. Appreciate that, bro. Also, shout out to Dusty Nuts. Shout out to him, man. What's up, Dusty Nuts?
Dusty Nuts.
Dusty Nuts.
God damn.
You know, just dusting with some salt, man. Don't dust them with nothing else, man. You know what I'm saying? Dusty Nuts. Shout out to the panel. He hit him again. He hit it up again. And yeah, that's the last one so far, man. But you know, listen, man. She's a manager. She gets you up, make sure you look good. Look at this. Listen to this shit.
We make sure you look presentable. We're like your...
But I mean, if a man wasn't capable of doing all that stuff himself, would the woman even find him attractive in the first place?
Uh-oh.
No. Well, we don't know that at first. We don't know that.
Well, I mean, obviously, I mean, a man has to be able to take care of himself in order to have the status and the physique and, you know, all the discipline that, you know, women would find attractive to begin with, right?
Yes, but that level is... what men require and what we bring to the table is on two different levels. What we want and what we bring.
Why do women often tell themselves?
He got it. Don't know what to say right now, like, because she's not saying anything.
You know what she's describing though? She's describing how a mother takes care of a child.
Exactly.
That's all she described. And basically, what he asked her is, well, what happens when you run into a man, not a child? He didn't have an answer.
Man, the shit that we got to go through, man. Shout out to No One. He says paying tuition and BGS tax. By the way, what is this new term, leftover men? Women keep using this term. I guess it means...
Those are the non-select men that actually are over 30. The leftover men. That's what they're calling them.
Leftover men?
Yeah.
It's cap. They're just trying to get back at the fact that, you know, leftover women is an international concept.
Yeah. It's not even an American concept. It's actually an Asian concept.
Look,
hey, look, check this shit. When I saw this, man, this really fucked me up, bro.
Just real quick, all I want to say is, when you live in a community where if you make 43,000, you make more than 70% of the community, you can come up with as many leftover men concepts as you want to. But as long as a brother can hold down a job, there will be somebody that wants to be in his world.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, man. You know, look, man. Everything men do doesn't mean women should do it. Every value that a man has doesn't mean that women should just have that same value. And what I think that in the Western world, people are bumping up against is the overwhelming idolization of masculinity. Mm-hmm. But since women can't actually attain it in the same way that men can, they have to reformulate it. They have to terraform it, to refashion it, to retrofit it. And that's not like it works for momentarily. It'll work, but what's going to end up happening is men are going to rebel.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to resist. You can't. One can argue, and I'm just going to make the case for this, right? As a philosopher, but it's based on evolutionary biology. Like human beings have existed in small bands of tribal-based hunter-gatherer groups, like for most of their existence. I mean, like only recently, like at the 11th hour, could you argue that human beings have had a set of circumstances where they are living in megaplexes, like humongous metropolises, and like there's relative safety and there's abundance of resources and reserved and stored energy and shit. Like stored and reserved energy and resources is luxury in and of itself.
Right.
And most people don't know that. I mean, like we don't have to scramble in the morning for resources, for water. Mm-hmm. We don't have to hunt for food under precarious circumstances. Yeah. Like even if you don't have food, you can be a thief and go get some really quickly if you fucking are willing to risk your life for it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if you get caught, they'll send you to jail and you'll get fed. So the precarity of human existence is not like it used to be for human beings. It's just not there. But you can't change the basic nature of human beings, and we've evolved into the kind of species that we are and the sexually dimorphic species that we are, not just predicated upon the patriarchal desires of men, but for what fitted our species to deal with the exigencies of nature, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm being a little bit cerebral by saying that.
No, let me say this, bro. And you're talking about tradition, and again, man, and I can speak from the context that where I am right now. It is not a common practice here where I am in West Africa for men and women to live completely isolated existences. Mm-hmm. People they still live in families. Okay, I just had a conversation with young women here in Gambia about this, and I asked a question about women living alone, and it's frowned upon. Mm-hmm. It's not something that is extolled by the society. Men are told not to deal with women who are by themselves, who don't have husbands. Mm. People live in families. I mean, you talking about BGA? You talking about the matrifocality?
Right.
I've been in the matrifocal compounds here in Gambia. Okay, and in these matrifocal compounds, you find men. Men are affirmed. Boys are affirmed. It's not perfect, but people are not living in complete isolation as a norm.
Yeah.
But that's the atomism of American society in particular. But I mean, it's evolved out of a certain set of economic circumstances, geographical and city structural circumstances, but also it's based upon the Enlightenment idea that human beings, for the most part, are like atomistic. Like individually, a human being is at its most supreme, state, like the state of them being able to pursue their interests without being interfered with by others.
Yeah, the rugged individual. Yeah.
And I mean, there's a price to pay for Westerners for this shit. There's social anomie, loneliness, depression, and then not to mention all of the other features and functions of Western culture that people think will make them happy, like a whole bunch of consumer products and being able to engage in conspicuous consumption, but with no substance. And I tried to explain, like I was on the Art of Immoral show with you yesterday, BGS.
Yeah.
And having a conversation about like what actually matters. Yeah. And to human beings, relationships matter. Mm-hmm. They matter more than cars and fucking overpriced shoes and overpriced cotton that you put on your ass. and silk and cotton and shit like that. That's not happiness. That doesn't produce happiness. If anything, like the psychological studies surrounding that demonstrates that that's an ephemeral shot of dopamine. It recedes quickly. It's not long-lasting well-being that you derive from, it's like, a gambler who gets a fix from gambling, or a dope fiend who gets a hit of dopamine from doing, a mind-altering substance. The things that actually keep human beings centered and grounded are functional relationships with other human beings. But we don't have that in this culture, man. It's some crazy shit. But speaking of that, this clip here fucked me up, man. Like, when your mama, your daughters, your sisters and shit like this have these kind of thoughts and opinions and feelings about you, man, we have done it wrong. Everything about this culture is wrong. Everybody's blaming everybody, and nobody's trying to figure out solutions. But, I know Ronald says he's checked out. I get it. I understand it, But it's crazy to have to deal with the vestiges of slave culture, man.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing, man. It's a hell of an experience, bro.
It's run its course, too, I think.
But I want to, before I show that, shout out to Wannabe Mystic. Appreciate you, sir. Shout out to Roaring Sun, who says, excellent program. Gentlemen, I'm proud of Dr. Neal and his adventures in Africa. His last upload was palpable. Keep winning. Yeah, shout out to that brother, man. Also, I want to give a shout out to Chemistry Ibmore, intellectual black men of refinement. He says, all of my favorite scholars together. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate you, sir. And Shadow Dog Law says that great show. We need these intellectual conversations for the sake of our own survival as individual black men. Yes, indeed. We will have the conversations. We don't need permission to speak. Shout out to that brother. And also shout out to Greg, who says, I'm enjoying watching these triggered, pissed off modern women on TikTok immensely. Passport bros for the win. Ibmore Eternal. Yes, yes. Shout out to that brother right there. Right now, see, we're poised to win. And there's nothing more offensive than seeing a black man win. They want you to lose. They'll boo your winning. They'll boo your winning. How can your husband's success be an affront to your own? That's how you know the one and the two have not become one. That's how you know. That's how you know. That's how you know. But look at this shit here, man.
Do not become a hospice care wife.
For those of you who don't know, a hospice care wife is a woman who marries a man later in life and he turns out to be sick.
Don't take care of a hospice care wife. If your husband gets sick, leave his ass. What?
I've seen that.
What the fuck is this shit, bro?
I have seen that. Yeah.
Who wants to deal with that, man? But now they saying, okay, there's a new derivative of the concept or the experience or phenomenon.
And she ends up taking care of him in his final days. What I want to talk about is the hospice care kids. Those were the kids he had in his youth that he claimed that they weren't his and he had neglected and abandoned them. So if he can't find that nurse with a purse, guess what he's going to do? He's going to get on Ancestry.com and find any and all of his kids and pretend to reconcile with them, saying, I'm sorry, I want to be a part of your life. And once they let him in their lives, he's going to drop the boom like, oh, I'm sick, can you help me out? And they'll be compelled to take care of him because that's their father. I feel that there will be a lot of daughters being pulled into those situations, and heaven help if she's working in healthcare. Sadly, a lot of people out there are still looking for their father's love, and if it means running themselves to the ground to take care of him to get it, so be it.
Do not become a hospice care wife.
Or a hospice care child, or whatever the fuck she called it. Like, what do you think about that, man?
Man, this is the funny thing about this to me is Kevin. I love how beautifully he called out how casual and common it was for mothers to prepare to live off their children, even when their children were still young. So by the point she reached where she's at retirement age and she's having physical ailments, it's damn near considered a given that she expects her kids to take care of her. But then in the midst of all of that, you got these women, and I've seen a few of these little videos talking about black men who pop up and need help or whatever. But this goes back to what I was saying earlier about checking out of these senseless arguments. But every time I see these videos, I don't really know if they really understand how much they're pushing black men away. I really don't know if they know. But this is the kind of stuff brothers are tired of. So you can sit here and you can make these hateful videos about how much you hate men or how much they're this and that. As brothers check out, you can make those videos by yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded, Sophia A. Nelson, who Obsidian calls Miss Thang. She's a lawyer. She's on MSNBC sometimes. I remember some years ago she talked about she's a hardcore sorority person. I believe she's
Which
an
one?
AKA.
Which one of them? Oh, here we go. Them Ivy motherfuckers. Go ahead.
She's an AKA, and she talked about a black woman who was an AKA who was found dead in her apartment.
Wow. Okay.
Close to 2 weeks after she had passed.
Okay.
Yeah, and no one had sought to check in on her, and it was just by mere circumstance that she was discovered dead. So it goes both ways, brothers. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is important. This is crucial to me because, and I clipped away from the clip. I actually, X'd the tab out, but I took care of my mother, man, on a deathbed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it wasn't, just like, it was a spiritual process, man. Like a sin, like, what people in contemporary American culture do is they remove themselves from processes. And one of the processes that every human being has to undergo is the process of death. But because, it's like we want to sanitize our way from things that, are uncomfortable. We sanitize our way ourselves from the process of death, man.
Yeah. I mean, my mom died. My mother had Alzheimer's, man. And I had to go through Alzheimer's until she died. So I mean, I've been there. So I understand, and that's it. I mean, all of this is capped, man. You know what I mean? And it really diminishes the substantive nature, at least in an ideal sense, of what a relationship or a commitment is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you take tradition seriously, and the whole idea of "till death do us part," you signed up for the marriage. You work that thing out all the way to the end.
And this is profoundly disrespectful to the brothers on this panel, because I took care of my wife until she died. She had sickle cell, so it was a constant. So here I'm listening, and I've been sent these videos. I'm listening to these women complain about sick men. As someone who actually cared for a sick woman until she passed. Y'all cared for your mothers until you see. It's like, y'all, how do you act like this doesn't happen with women? I don't understand.
I just don't understand the callousness of it all. Like we're talking about women who are basically saying it's okay to be derelict on my duty as a caregiver.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's one of the things that women are traditionally known to do, but they don't want to do it anymore. I mean, like, I had no issue. It was my honor to make sure my mother was comfortable as she transitioned from this world to whatever lies beyond, whether it be oblivion or paradise. I felt honored to hold her hand while she was scared and nervous about dying, when she had panic attacks. I mean, the callousness, like, to me, this is callousness to the extreme. This is the desire for people to fucking be caught in the wilderness, to suffer. And for what? To what end? And this is the shit, it fucks me up. And we already know that when it comes to men, this is a video that's been circulating around. This is an old clip, but it's common. Here's a young man who's trying to get his daughter, to pick his daughter up, to form a relationship with his daughter, but his bitch asshole baby mother doesn't want to give him the child because she's just being a straight bitch. Here it is.
She wouldn't give him his child, and this happens.
You can go. I am phone. Don't touch my car. Don't touch my car. Move. Stop. You still got on paper? All right. Now, she don't want to give me my baby. I drove up here for 2 hours, and she don't want to give me my child. Yes, it is a car seat in there, man. Car seat right there. No. Give me my baby so I can go. You don't need to be in my car. It's a car seat in there. No, I'm not yelling. I want you to give me my child so I can go home. I'm not screaming. I just want my child so I can go home.
Can't imagine why no one would want to deal with this. We all know that the narrative is that black men don't want to deal with their children, and yet no one wants to talk about women who act like this and keep their daggone kids away from their fathers.
She wouldn't give.
Now, it don't matter if the woman black or not. I mean, this shit happened to me.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't do what I say, you don't have to see her. I've been to pick up my baby, and I had another woman in the car.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't the best move. Probably wasn't the best move.
Was not, sir. Was not.
But I did. But motherfucker, it's a wrap for us, right?
Yeah.
It's a wrap. It's mutual agreement on the termination of our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So it shouldn't matter if I'm with another chick. I don't want her to be around the house with that bitch there.
Yeah.
And women will co-sign that. Like, you're right. She needs to know you first and all. Motherfucker, this is my bitch. I've been knowing the baby since the fucker was born. Why I gotta go through a fucking bonding process with my own kid?
Yeah, but the baby's already seen like two or three boyfriends that she's had.
Man, man, look. I'm so sick of the excuses, man.
But what she's ultimately doing, however, she knows she has the family court at her disposal. She's bullying him with proxy family court resources. I mean, she knows that. That's what this is. It isn't even about him versus her. It's her using resources and institutions to his detriment and bullying him with his child. But we're not gonna call this out.
But the point is, why would a Negro want to have to go through this bullshit? Why? This is not functional. This is not even civil. This is some bullshit. Why would you want to undergo this, man? There are places in the world where this type of shit does not happen. Did you know that? There are places in the world where this is not a phenomenon.
Yeah.
But here in the good old US of A, they have an entire judicial, police, and a bureaucracy system set up to endorse this. You can't get access to your own kid without jumping through hoops. You shouldn't have to jump through hoops to be a father. But then they'll blame you for not being there. Where were you at? Where were you at? Talk to your mama, man. Ask her why I wasn't there and see if she tell you the truth. But it's too hard for women to tell the truth though, because it's all the niggas' fault. The shit is getting old. Pop Smoke and Go says, strong, independent single mothers need to raise their kids to band-aid their bad decisions. How many of us were on our mother's utility bills? I was. Damn. Shout out to that man.
Yeah.
I got everything in my son name.
Yeah. Fuck around and have 400 credit score by the time you're 18 and don't even know what credit is yet.
But I mean, you know, hey man, it's ghetto shit. You know what I mean? Some ghetto shit. Shout out to Distinguished Legacy. Shout out to him. He says, my uncle, through marriage, 20 plus years, cared for my aunt who had pancreatic cancer. That's exactly what my mother had. Only for my family to turn on him because he started dating a year after my aunt passed.
Right.
My black masculine is turned. Like, this, immediately after a woman is fucking left by herself, somebody supposed to take care of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
The widow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not the dude. He supposed to be in fucking grievement and bereavement for the entirety of his life and shit.
Well, shout out to Distinguished Legacy. You know, the black masculine's turn is real. But here's where to get you. Other women, friends of your wife or your girl, will come at you at the funeral. Nobody wants to talk about it. Even elder men in their senior years, when they bury their wives, there will be other women in the community that have been waiting for her to die.
Yep, that's true.
And will be at the funeral getting at him. My mother and a crew of elder women literally had to form like a football style block because I had women that I wasn't even thinking about that were there dressed to the nines at the funeral to get at a brother. Shit is real, but women want to act like this isn't happening.
That's when you was bench pressing 400, wasn't it? You know what I'm
saying? You know what's interesting about that? All I had was what they call potential. I was a professor. This was 2009. So I was, you know, I was full time for my first full year. That was it. Because it really wasn't about me. It wasn't, you know, it was just about the fact that I had some degree of some modicum of stability.
Yeah.
And if women see you treating a woman well, they wait for you. I mean, I think Chris Rock said it best. He said, you know, men will look at their boy who has a beautiful woman and say, I want a woman like that. Mm-hmm. Women will look at her girls and her relationship and say, I want him.
Damn, that's fucked up, man. That's sad. That's sad, bro.
They come to the funeral dressed, bro.
Oh, yeah. They come to, they come to hunt.
That's sad to me, man. You know, I mean, you know, you got to get, I guess, you know, you got to get it how you live. But to me, that's...
Yeah, there was a scene in Being Mary Jane when the husband actually divorced his the father actually divorced the mother, right? And right after that, all the church women were lining up with pies and cakes at his door.
Real
man,
talk.
That's crazy to me. But you know, hey, man, it is what it is, man. I ain't gonna say it didn't happen for me after my mother's death. I had about 4 or 5 different chicks at the motherfucking funeral trying to hop on my, and the morning before I went to the funeral, she rode it, my pony, which is fucked up, but you know, you gotta release somehow.
Hey, you gotta relieve that stress, huh?
I'll tell you how cold the game is. You'll be at a funeral and get a text from a woman you never thought was engaged in you like that. She'll send you a text and tell you, I'm at this hotel in this room, come see me after the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I was done though, because I had a
friend of my wife's.
Man, bro, like, you know, it was just my mother though, but you know, I had like about 4 chicks there, man, at the funeral. I was like, damn, this is fucking weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, god damn. All I did was I wasn't even thinking about them either. I was like, just, you know, like I was in my own world, man. Like, none of them were important. None of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, all I could do is just kind of recede into myself, you know what I mean? And, you know, I went to my boy's house, you know, he's like a brother to me, you know what I'm saying? His father. And when they, you know, they were still alive, but like when my mother died, man, I went over their father in his mother's house, man. I just went in the basement. They had a room down there, man. I just fucking fell out, man. My brothers and sisters was there. They was all like, everybody was there from my family. And I didn't want to be around nobody. I just wanted to, you know, recede into myself for a little while. And, you know, after that day or so, I was cool, you know what I mean? But, man, you know, it's like, motherfuckers like vultures out here, bro. You know, motherfuckers is like vultures out here, man.
Oh, they
Shout
might
out.
show up to the house in a trench coat in the summer, bro.
No, man, you know, they ain't that wild. But anyway,
Oh,
D. Scott said, I stopped fighting for my kids 10 plus years ago. Take the money and leave me out of it. Check for me at 25. Kids will work it out then. And that's what a lot of men are dealing with, bro. Like, I mean, you know, I felt that, you know what I'm saying? Because, okay, so like in the city of St. Louis, there's something called the Father Support Center, man. And,
Right.
you know, I went to the Father Support Center. Now, I was already a college graduate. This program is primarily, at the time, it was for indigent men, you know, or men who quite didn't know, like, their own paths. But a program existed for them to be able to be in contact with their children if, you know, there was some alienation from the kids or whatever the case may be. And I figured, you know, fuck it, instead of me going out and paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for an attorney, why don't I just go through this program? And so I did. I had to take classes and, you know, just go through the shit. And I was in school. I was in graduate school. So I just said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I have the time to commit to it. So I did it. It was during the summer. I wasn't in school at the time, and I did it. And we drew up what for that program in the city of St. Louis was the first co-parenting agreement that was ever drawn up. And, you know, I went to her grandmother's house. We sat there with the people from the Father Support Center. She signed the paper. I signed the paper. Man, when I went to go pick that fucking kid up, man, she just refused to follow the goddamn dictates and the shit. She just sat there with her own goddamn family and agreed to. That was in the best interest of the child. So she didn't give a fuck about, you know, adhering to the dictates of the agreement anyway, the co-parenting agreement. I went to court for real. Then I hired the attorney, and then went to the courts and had a black female. And, you know, she was like, you know, she was like, you better stop playing with this man. Which, you know, I got to give that judge kudos.
Okay.
Yeah, she was like, she tried to up the price of the child support too. She was like, I want an increase. She was like, you're not about to get no motherfucking increase. He ain't even seeing his kid. Case closed, man. Let the dude see his kid. I'm going to put your ass in jail.
Did it work?
Yeah,
for a while, but I mean, you know, like a hard head make a soft ass. She just continued like it. So I had supervised visitation for like about 8 weeks. And then after that, she was supposed to, you know, increasingly see me, and like it started like 2-hour visits, then 4-hour visits, then half a day visits, then it was supposed to go to overnight visits. When it came to that, she just didn't show up with the kid, and then we had to go through the same bullshit again. I was like, look, I'll wait, man, till she get older enough to deal with this shit herself, because I don't want to put her in jail. You know, now I probably would have put her in jail. I probably would have called the police now. You know what I'm saying? Because these women don't give a fuck about calling the police on you.
No, they don't.
But they do it knowing, again, that's that chivalry. They know most of us ain't calling the police on that. So they press it because they know it.
Niggas need to start calling the police, man. Because nothing will change if you don't let them feel it. They'll let you feel it, but they won't. They'll let you feel it, but you ain't supposed to let them feel it.
They're women. They're women. They have a privilege. You know,
man, fuck all that shit, man.
It's a state-run gynocracy, man. They have privilege, and they know it.
So check this shit out. I got 2 more, and then we can be up out of here. You guys have been here for a while, damn near 3 hours. I appreciate your time, your patience, and your involvement. Yeah, you know, at the current moment, y'all deserve a round of applause before we even go any going further, man. Straight up, for real, man. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here, for real. You know, it's a Sunday, so, you know, I know y'all all are busy and what have you. But check this shit out.
What I'm realizing is that women, especially black women, are a special kind of stupid. Now, I'm told that they're educated far greater than than black men. But you have to be crazy to decide, I don't need a man. And you know what? I'm still going to have children, but in order to take care of this child, I'm going to go out and work 8 to 10 hours a day. And then when I get home, I'm going to be too tired to actually parent. So I'm going to let my children be raised by TV and social media. And so then you have your daughter thotting on the gram, and then your son being this thug. But you know, hey, I'm educated and I'm smart, and I get to celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day. No, what you are is an educated fool, because who in their right mind would decide that they want to go against the very nature of a woman and the reason why God put us on this earth?
Damn. I mean, I said this a long time ago. In order to be independent and strong and all this shit, women are putting themselves at a disadvantage. All the shit you say you're trying to avoid, you put more burden and more pressure on your damn self by trying to live out this lifestyle where you can't be told what to do. I don't understand it, bro. I don't get it, man.
And they've always been that way. They've always been that way. It didn't start yesterday. They didn't get it from the neighbors, as my old folks used to say.
Man, I don't get it. Like, you know, the whole point is nobody is rearing our children.
No.
And I mean, the public school system is a dismal failure for black children. If you can't afford to send them to private schools and spend time, you got to spend time with children.
Yeah. Private school's not help if you don't spend time with the kid, you know, because private school's going to heap them with like 2 hours of homework. And if you're not there to help them with it, they won't be in private school very long. So it's not just, you can't just dump them off and then think that you don't have to shepherd them or parent them. It's impossible, especially nowadays. I
went to private schools. So, you know, my mother made sure that I had a good education.
Yeah.
She did help me with my homework, but I don't know, for some reason, you know, like the things in elementary school weren't difficult for me very, very, very much so at all.
I wonder why, sir. You happen to be almost a genius. I'm guessing.
No, I definitely ain't no genius, but you know, like, but you know, I'll say this. I guess at the school that I went to, you know, as a young black kid, man, there was no stigma associated with being smart.
No.
Like in some schools, it's a stigma if you're smart. Like it's like you know, like it just didn't happen where I was. And you know, like reading was encouraged in my household and my school. Mm-hmm. And everybody, like I didn't have any friends that were dumb as a box of rocks. Like everybody was smart to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. Everybody I was surrounded by was functional. Everybody was literate. There were no dunces, and you know, like we had disciplinary problems because we young black kids and shit doing shit we ain't had no business doing. But we weren't like slow. You know, like we didn't have like psychological or behavioral issues that were of a, you know, like a deviant kind. You know, you know what I'm saying? So it was good. It was good. You know what I'm saying? But like our parents gave a fuck about our education. I know what it's like to live around kids whose parents, they just didn't give a fuck about their education, bro.
That's a typical black parent, but then you had educated parents, so it helps.
Man, I mean, you know, I was reading all throughout my my early elementary education. My mother would buy books like if we went, she kept buying books herself though. It's important for you to read so your kids can see you reading so that they think reading is actually normal.
Yeah. I was in a typical black family. Me reading I was an outlier.
Yeah, you know, you're a genius your damn self, man. You're a genius your damn self, man. But this is the last one, and I know Dr. Johnson gonna say something about this. Because it's always said that black men are violent, that when it comes to the black community, we're the problem. But check this shit out.
You women sit on social media, you sit around, everybody killing everybody, but you never tell the truth that it's been 1,000 shootings and homicides trickle back down to you running your fucking mouth or you calling somebody and exaggerating because you feel disrespected. Stop calling people. You get in an argument with somebody on the block, that's it, leave it there. You call your brother, now these niggas going through it the whole summer, and then somebody's child die about it. That's your fault.
Now, I just know that there are brothers out here that's just not out here just listening to angry bras and just throwing their lives away just by word alone. I want to tell you, brothers, man, just be smarter. Don't be a proxy for someone's niggatry just because.
Yeah.
Check him out. This is Kevin from Black Men Being Brutally Honest.
It's a female. They'll lie in a hiccup. I mean, you'll be sitting in a jail cell somewhere and she be sitting at home like, I don't know. I mean, even if it's your family member, ask questions, man. I mean, y'all know somebody trifling. Yeah, don't throw your life away just because she said so.
And that's it.
Yeah, that has been talking about the proxy attack dog that part of the gynocracy, where they actually use males to actually enforce violence. That's common in the matriarchy. You have enforcers.
That's real talk. But see, if somebody's arrested and God forbid somebody killed, it's recorded as a male on male engagement. That's it. It was two men, one shot the other, that's it. And so it gives the appearance that, this is all men do and women have to endure this craziness. And that's the popular trope that we get. Nobody wants to talk about the various ways women participate in this and sometimes initiate it. And sometimes do it on a flex. I played a video where a woman came into a pizza joint, walked past the line to the front, and when somebody had a problem with it in line, she went to a man. Yeah. He came in and beat the dude up and went to jail for 4 years.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. That black guy, the black, big, burly black dude.
Yeah. Exactly. And the thing about it was you could tell she did it because she enjoyed the power of having that at her disposal. That was it. He went to jail for 4 years. Yeah. Nobody died, but I think he broke the dude's jaw.
Yeah, he did. And I think he broke his orbital bone in his eye too. So that's how badly he beat him up.
But he did 4 years just so she could feel powerful. And my question to dudes in that position is, I wonder what she doing the whole 4 years you sitting in the cell.
You know what they say, man. I hate to do this one, but I don't think this is gonna be monetized because some of the things I said.
You sitting in the cell.
Yeah. I did a video called the Proxy D-Boy, right? Where black women will encourage and take advantage of the D-Boy, and if she's holding his money and his property while he's in, and basically he comes out with nothing 5 years later.
Yep.
Right.
She done spin it all up, and he's out on the street. When he comes out, he ain't got nothing. And she's replaced him with another D-Boy.
Yep.
Right. That's why they say, bro, you gotta keep your head on the swivel at all times, man. That's what they say in Texas. Keep your head on the swivel. Hey, keep your head on. Be on your pivot, man. Already, because at the end of the day, man, life goes on without you, man. You know what I'm saying? If you get taken out of the picture, and it's so easy to get you out of the picture, man. So, man, we've been discussing Passport Bros and reflections on it. I've gone over a whole bunch of shorts. We've taken some deviations from the main picture here and there, but we want to fit all the pieces of the puzzles back together so we can have some coherence in what it is that we're trying to articulate here, man. What we've been saying, I think, at least from my perspective, and I'm going to give everybody else a chance to speak before we get out of here because I want to at least get out, under 3 hours. So, look, black men, are basically saying, look, we're tired of the mistreatment that we get, and we want women who actually know the value of manhood. And if we got to go elsewhere to get it, that's what we'll do. Because there's nothing in life like the peace of mind.
Yep.
So, BGS, you want to, be the first, and then Dr. Tiasan, and then Ronald, and then we can get up on out of this joint.
Basically, if you can't find what you want here, man, outsource, as Ronald says, and man, go global. You know, the world is open now, so man, black women have to compete, and there's no excuse for it. If you can't get what you want here, you know, go buy it someplace else. You're gonna have to pay for it one way or the other, but get it at 90 or 9 cents on the dollar instead of 100% or the 200% like they want to charge you in here in America.
Right. Yeah.
I would just say that, I think the two, when it comes to going monk and then going international, the two things that I hope brothers at least get out of both experiences, if nothing else, is when going monk, you're cleaning your palate and you're just really kind of detoxing in a way. And by the time you go international, if nothing else, hopefully you get a reset where you actually figure out, how to respond to being treated well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you've never been treated well before. It's an adjustment. It takes a second. Most brothers I know that get treated well for the first time are waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. It's like having PTSD. They don't know how to process being treated well. If you've grown up in a gynocracy and you've never even seen it, take those two experiences in. Learn that through monkhood, that you don't actually need a woman's attention, and then actually go experience being treated well. And allow that to clean your palate, because that's one of the things I enjoyed talking to Dr. Neal. We talked for a few hours after a few of his trips, and that brother came back with a whole new palate.
I hate to say it, man, but he came back like Patti LaBelle with a fucking new attitude and shit.
You know what I mean?
I don't mean, no homo or no shit like that, but that's he's talking about a new disposition, a new lease on life type thing, man.
And that brother was talking about if you see him with an American woman, he holding her for the police. That was
put your mama on the phone.
Where you at, Dr. Neal? Where you at, man? Is you still here with us, man? He might have a bad connection. Ain't no telling.
He got a candygram somewhere.
Yeah, he on one right now. Well,
there she is. But anyway,
right. So look, I want to make sure that all of y'all know that you are appreciated. You definitely are. I want to also inform all the people out there, man. If this is the Green Gorilla channel, it's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers. Please, if you can, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Please like the video if you haven't done so already. Please share the video if you haven't done so. And please, if you can, please support the Green Gorilla channel. Please support black male social media. I have a lot of shows on a lot of different topics, but today we're talking about passport bros and reflecting and ruminating about it, just offering our own opinions and our own values and assessments about why the phenomenon exists, whether or not it's justifiable, and, whether or not, the backlash that black men are receiving for having, chosen other options or alternatives somehow destroys the community. We, at this point, just really don't give a shit too much, man. So, and we got the mad professor back. He's in Gambia right now, exercising his options, to act on that freedom and agency that black men have. Brother, mad professor, man, bring us home, man.
Man, all I want to say, man, is that the passport phenomenon, travel ideology, and its rewards and benefits, man, are real. I mean, this is real. This is the real deal. And I say this, from my experience. And we're not selling wolf tickets. We're not selling something that is false or a pipe dream or what have you. This will change your life, and I want to say that it's for everyone. And what I mean by that is this ideology, I know some brothers have a hard time traveling for whatever reason, economic reasons, stuff with child support, so on and so forth. but it's the mindset, man. It's the idea that you have other options, that you don't have to settle, as they say, for the gynocracy, the Western gynocracy, not just Black women, but what we're dealing with in the West, man. And we're dealing with the very, very worst of Western society right now, and it's hostile to men. I'm at peace. I'm happy. I feel good. And I just don't look at the American situation as I did, let's say, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And the more I travel and foray deeper into different cultures and forming new relationships, that's the thing, man. Forming new substantive relationships. The further I get away from the American experience. I'm still a Black man in America and, ADOS and all that kind of stuff. And, there is a modicum of concern that I have about our situation, but I'm out, man. I'm out. And so for all the Black men who are listening, who, want something else, it exists. It exists beyond the borders of the United States.
So there you have it, man.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, yes. I'm sorry, Doc Johnson. Go ahead and bring us
home. No, I'm just just take a second. I want y'all to hear this. How many of y'all have ever heard a Black man say, "I'm at peace, I'm content"? In your lifetime, how often have you heard it? And to hear it the way he said it, how many of us have even heard that? I'm sorry, man. I just had to drop that in.
It ain't too often I hear it, man. I'm not gonna give any substance of depth to it, but it's very few brothers that I hear like, man, I'm absolutely content. I'm just 100% happy, and all that shit is rare. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, bro. But thank y'all for joining me today. I want to give a shout out before I leave. He says, Adrian Thomas, a friend of mine, Special Forces husband, beat up her LAPD boyfriend and wonder why I keep her at arm's length. So, I'd leave her alone. I'd keep her ass at arm's length too. She got motherfuckers fighting over each other. Fuck that. You'd be Tyree. And then Quiam Kali says, thanks for bringing the Avengers together. GG, great commentary. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate it. Unless you got something else to say, Doc Johnson, man, we can be about this thing, man.
Oh, no, I'm good.
So, hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man. And thanks, y'all, for coming, man. Like, to have y'all come and give me support, man, it's astronomical, man. Stupendous and all that good stuff, man. Fish and grits and all that pimp shit, you know what I mean? So
appreciate you, man. Thank you.
We about this thing, man. I'm